This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox newscast. Welcome. How are you doing? How's everybody's life going? It's good to be here. It's good to be here with the XNC Podcast. I'm Colteastwood, and I've been enjoying gaming. Finally. It was a rough couple of months there. Meg, how you been, bro? My co-host.
I am doing fantastic. Yes, hello everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. I am doing well, and I'm glad you're having a good time playing Dragon's Dogma 2. Tell me about it, please.
It's it looked boring. It looked drab. It looked like not my thing. And then Gaz made a like quick impressions video after spending like 8 hours playing the game from the very onset, and he just stopped playing, made a video, and then played it the rest of the night. And I watched that, and Red Wolf, good friend of mine from Renegade Podcast, he made like a video about what to expect from it, and I just thought, I don't know, maybe this is for me. And then I'm like 20 plus hours into it in about 3-4 days. That's all I think about. So I'm really happy with it.
That's good, man. I'm glad to see you're passionate about like a new game. That's really good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So yes, I have gotten back into, on the gaming front, I've gotten back into Helldivers 2 because they put out a patch, and the patch, I was able to access my friends list again, because for some reason I wasn't able to access my friends list. And so I got to that. Now it's appeared. Now I can play. I can play with my wife on my squad now. And so we're having a lot of fun with that. And what else am I doing? I'm on the backlog front. I am just on the verge. I think I'm about 10 to 12 hours away from finishing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That's another backlog game. Myself and Risket the Biscuit, we are digging through the backlog before we buy anything new, right? So
yeah, I saw you guys having that back and forth about saving some money. Yeah,
hey, man, and you know what? For me, it's not even about the money. It's really not. It's just about the prudency of it, right? What's the point of paying $80 for a game that I won't touch? Because I'm playing all these other games I have in order, right? The next one after Tiny Tina's is going to be Assassin's Creed Mirage, and then right after that, Dying Light 2. And in between all that, I'll be doing Helldivers, just for fun here and there.
Yeah.
And then Final Fantasy 16, and then a couple of other games down the list. Now, the point is, if I were to buy Dragon's Dogma 2 and I'm in the thick of these other games, I'm going to pay $100 Canadian, all right, for the game, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it for like a year. By the time I actually get to it, it's going to be like next Christmas, and I'm like, well, what's the point, right? So,
or you're going to sideline the games you wanted to play before this game came and flew into your face.
Well, the only time I'm going to do that, let's be fair, and let's be honest, we are on a show called XNC. I will do that for Hellblade 2 because, I mean, hey, let's face it. It's an Xbox podcast. Yeah. It's an Xbox game. I will play Hellblade 2 same day, and I'll have it finished by the time we have the next show so that we could discuss the game. Hopefully, everybody else gets a chance to play it. We won't dive into too many spoilers, but, we'll talk about our feelings about the gameplay, how things look, the graphics, the performance. So
look what Solid White said in the chat. You need to call him out.
Well, what Solid White? What did he say?
He said, sticking to the script. I respect it, Mag.
Oh, there it is. Hey. There it is. Well said. But yeah.
Hey, I've been telling people, Mag. We brought it up on. Yeah. We brought it up on Go Live. Someone said something about you and me on the show and how you like to play on PlayStation. I said, man, I like that. If it was just two Xbox guys, just yours like with the shake weights, it wouldn't be the same ordeal. But
hold on. Me in the back here with my hand up. I have 400,000 gamer score. You buttheads. Like I have more gamer score than most.
Look at what we have here.
Yeah. What the hell's wrong with you guys? I still play a lot of Xbox. The reason why? Okay, let me explain this to everybody. Who wants to call me whatever. And I'm not in a combative mood today. I'm actually in a great mood.
Yeah, we love you guys.
The reason why of course we love you guys. You guys at the chat, you guys are amazing. The reason why I play so many PlayStation games now is because I haven't been very happy with the outpour of games over the last few years. So all the games that I've been playing, minus a few here and there, I've already played them on Xbox. I've already gotten my 1,000 out of 1,000 on Xbox on those games, and I repurchased the same games on the PlayStation 5 to go get the platinums on them because, first of all, I love doing completions because I think they're fun. And I'm replaying all those games I played on Xbox. Like, for example, the entire Resident Evil series, I repurchased the whole damn thing on PlayStation, and I'm replaying them all. I've already played them on Xbox. Like I said, anybody go check my gamer score right now. I'm closing in on 400,000 gamer points. Like, give me a break. I am not a PlayStation guy.
3 times
I'm not
more
an
than
Xbox guy. Well, there you go. And I just like playing games. Like, holy macro, isn't that the strange concept? Except for Nintendo. They can't hold my interest anymore. They really can't. And I have all the hot Nintendo games. I just can't do it for longer than 30 minutes, man. And I'm just done. I'm just like, no.
Isn't that crazy that Nintendo is so massively popular and they don't have like the games that just completely take us by storm? Like for the most part, they don't get those games. We'll talk about that as well today. What was that?
Sure, we will. Oh no, it's like I'm wearing my Nintendo shirt today. Classically trained.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. Love it. I'm wearing my. Anyways. I don't like the Ant-Man movies, but I like the way this shirt feels. How about that? How about that for integrity?
The Astonishing Ant-Man. That great comics, by the way. They were great comics. Movies, I liked the first one quite a bit. Second one, not so much. Third one.
Yeah, we watched that one on the plane home from LA, and we were like, oh gosh, this was a movie. Yeah. Hey, big shout out to Lotus Esprit. They sent an amazing $50 super sticker. Thank you so much. I gotta look at this little animation. It's a purple cheerleader jumping up with the pom-poms. It looks a lot like me. And then another one comes in just right as I said that. Thank you so much, Lotus Esprit, with a super effective. I think that's what it says. Hold on. Yeah, super effective. Look at that. Looks like Mag.
Lotus Esprit, you are awesome, buddy. And C-Note, what's up, buddy? Sorry, C-Note was trying to say hi to me a few times in the chat. And Noof Nukem's in there. Noof, I'm heading to. Oh no, I can't tell anybody where I'm going. Noof, I'm heading where you and I usually hang out. I can't let my enemies know where I am. I have to be 3 steps ahead. Noof is not the enemy. I'm just saying my other enemies who are listening to the show.
Oh, of course.
They can't know where I am.
They're
tomorrow.
like,
I'm leaving the.
Ha!
Yeah, they're pirates. You know what they are? They're PlayStation pirates that are playing Sea of Thieves over there. They're finding me now. They're
ahoy!
Oh, yeah.
Her.
There be the fraud.
There be the fraud.
There be the fake insider. Arr.
Hey, I haven't read this list. We'll start off the show. I'll read my channel members and Patreon veterans. Just recently updated the list. So many people have joined the channel and will be soon on this list. This is people who've been with the channel for 9 months and longer. Some of you have been here so long. It's really, really fantastic. So we got KY Bob, Assassin, Lupa, Jazzy Newtbox, Hargeet, Chani, Jason Lewan, Lord Senator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Zimic, Nelson, Bernal, Virgil, Kings 5050, Happy Bomb, Decatron, Tricks for Trey, Armin LaRoche. Channel members are Matt Burns, Yodani Kazada, Robert Jackson, Dante Moody, Betamax, Septic Sauce Center, White, V Simcoe, Assassin, Dub, Raiden Blade, Risk It for the Biscuit, True 77, Micah Ford, Pen Pineapple, Pen, Trail Rabbits, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf, Jade AJ Golan, Rippin, Highlander 001, Techno Caveman, Fire 71, That Blue Number, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Shooter, Tex Made, VMAC, B Martin, Sith Lord, Good Old Collingwood, Dead Time, KJ Wars, Dave, Wave Mortem, Lord Starkiller, Kings, Justin Duell, Biff Rinaldi, and Diz Guy 07. You know, as I was reading that list, every time I read this list of the amazing people that support the channel, Meg, it always reminds me of when my good friend Dealer Gaming would read every week. He would read this list of people who, some of those are on my list too. And when he would say them, those names I heard first from his voice. And I get probably 1 or 2 comments every video, or sometimes almost every tweet about how Dealer's doing. And so I thought I would just say something on the channel, since people might not, maybe asking. The last we heard since Fonz talked to him about a month ago is he said, I'm good, bro. Trust me. I'm out touching grass. So I don't know when he's going to be back to making content or bringing back the podcast. He said he wants to do that soon, but all we know is he's been playing a crap ton of Xbox games, unlocking achievements. So when people are asking, I thought I would just take a public moment to say he's doing great, and he'll come back when he's ready to chat with all of us crazy people. So I just have to do that because, for years we've been good friends with him, and people ask. So anyway, I thought I'd just throw that in there, just off the cuff. So We appreciate you guys. Yeah, and Solid White says, hope Dio's doing well. RDX was so good. Yeah, it was the premier crazy group of people doing a podcast. It really was, and I was so happy to be part of it. But now I'm here with Meg. Meg, we talked about what we're playing. We have kind of an eclectic list of gaming news because over the past month, it has mostly been, oh my gosh, is everything going to just fall into a puddle of slime? Are we going to make it through the gaming business? Yeah. How are you feeling about the gaming news before we get in? Have you kind of kept your finger on the pulse?
I always do. I always do constantly. Even if I'm not in a direct contact with you all the time, because obviously we both have very busy lives. Ethan Valdez, my gamer tag is I am the mag, all capital letters.
Yep, all together.
All one word, all capitals, all together. Yes, that's both on Xbox and on PS5. Anyway, and Nintendo Switch. Anyways, no, I am over there on the news. Yeah, like at least 10 or 12 times a day, I'm always checking Twitter and everything else, and I'm seeing what's going on. I always know what's going on, and of course, people reach out to me, tell me what's happening in the different, the different studios, what they're working on, and everything. Not everything, but like some of the things, especially Ubisoft and EA, right? So got people over there, some people in Xbox game studios and whatever. So let
me interrupt you. Why don't you take a second to further explain? I think in the moment you talked about Jedi Survivor on the PS5 Pro, which is like a hardware test that you'd heard about that somebody told you that works within. Do you want to? Is there anything you want to further clarify? Because a lot of people ran with that and they're like, "What the crap?"
Yeah, I know, and I got crapped on really hard about that last couple of weeks.
Thankfully, not by name as much, Meg. Like I was like, I don't want him to like. I don't know. Go ahead.
They didn't call me out by name, but some people did on Reddit and whatever else. It was a benchmark test, which I was trying to say on the show. And actually, I think I did say on the show, the guy said it is not indicative of the final product. It was just something they were trying to achieve to see if they could achieve it. That's it.
Yeah, and
that was it. Like, it wasn't like, hey, the game's running at 4K 120 and everybody's going to have a blast playing it. That's not what he said. And maybe it's my fault. Maybe you know what? I'm not afraid to take the L on that if I said it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because you know how live show the problem with live shows is you can't edit them, right? So you could say something and go, oh crap, did I say it this way? Did I say it that way?
Because you said, oh, they got it up to it wasn't locked. Right. And when I went back to the show, you were kind of implying like that's what it was. It was set.
Right.
And I attribute that, not to defend you, but I attribute that so many times we've been on shows, we've been on other people's podcasts, and you're live and you're talking and you in your head, you know what you're trying to explain, and you make this concise comment, and then you're like, I've done it before. And of course, like I listen, like Mag's not like trying to make up a lie. Like
no. It's like I said, the problem with live shows is that if you say something, you're like, oh, I said it right. But the problem is you may have not said it right, or people misinterpret it, or it's conjecture or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to do a video. When you make a video and you go back and you're watching, you're editing, you're like, ooh, I can't say that. And you scratch it, and you know what I mean? And you redo it. Live shows are very tricky. And, like I said, I'll take the L, and I don't care. It's fine. But it was a benchmark. It was a benchmark that they were trying to hit. And that's all he was trying to convey to me. But he did say it is not indicative of the final product. So, when I saw some people out there, I'm not going to call their names out because they didn't call my name specifically.
Yeah.
But they saying like it's bull, whatever, this and that. It's fine. It's
well,
fine.
You know what? But a couple of people were saying that why couldn't it run at 120 with AI upscaling and frame rate and with further optimization? And I'm like, I don't know. And I actually went back and played it that weekend after you said that on the podcast, because what happened is I could have helped you a little bit, but I was a very terrible co-host at that moment because you were talking about Jedi Survivor and I was like, Jedi Survivor. Oh, I remember that game. I never finished it. It was quite close. I think I'll reinstall Jedi Survivor. And you're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I think I'll reinstall it and play through it. And that would be great. And then you finished saying you ended up dropping the news, and it was like completely over my head. And I was like, sounds cool, Mag. Terrible person.
No, not at all. No. I could see it being at 4K 60, like a running product. Like I don't see why not. Or
I don't know what resolution it is, but
I have no idea. Whatever, man.
It runs really solid now because they yanked out the ray tracing, and you obviously didn't say that there would be ray tracing plus 4K 120, but It's so
No,
solid
I
now than it was
literally,
at launch.
if I literally like just read off the message that was sent to me. So, but
Oh
anyways,
yeah, that's true.
no,
Yeah.
he didn't say anything about ray tracing or anything like that. But
Yeah.
some people are making fun of me too. I saw that they're like, of course he's not lying. He's reading it directly off the page. You can see his eyes moving. And I'm
Trust
like,
me, bro. I need to make your
what is
shirt.
the matter with you? Why are people so angry? It's so funny. Anyways, it doesn't matter. The
I
point
need
is,
to actually. Would you guys buy shirts if I drew a caricature of Mag and I, and yours was "Trust me, bro," and mine was a Pinocchio nose? I think those would sell in the millions.
I would buy at least 24 of those shirts and hand them out at the next Game Awards show, and just stand at the front, and be like, "Oh, a lot of Pierce here. I got a shirt for you, sweetheart. There you go. That's for you, Phil. Come here. I got a shirt
It's
for you
those
right
two
here."
clowns.
Yeah.
Well, let me get you guys caught up to speed. I was going to ask you what news stuck out. There's kind of some weird news, but I want to start out by talking about the death of Xbox, totally tongue in cheek. But we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the Xbox handheld, which even more news is funny because we'll get into that, won't we, Mag? Marvel's 1943 and Unreal Engine 5. There's actually some good news there that I was actually planning on making a video about it, so maybe we'll talk about that a little. We've got some Square Enix, some Dragon's Dogma controversy to talk about. We're going to talk about some games that are missing Xbox, some games that are finally coming to Xbox, and some partnerships with new games, and some other exciting things. So I want to start off with GamesIndustry.biz prominent writer Christopher Dring talked on his podcast about how the Xbox brand is flatlined in growth in the EU, and he talked to a major developer that said, did you hear this, Mag? That said, why do we even bother with Xbox?
Yeah, I did see that. Listen, people are free to feel however they want. I mean, to make that kind of thing public, that's a little much, even for me. Like, I mean, I know people think that I'm very brash or I could be obnoxious or whatever else. I really am not. I try not to be. It's just part of a shtick sometimes. But for someone to go out of their way and say something like that, I find that to be a little inappropriate, even on a business level. It just doesn't seem to be something you want to do, because when you're working in an industry, regardless if you like something or not, you can hate Xbox all you want behind the scenes. You can not give them your games. That's fine. You could not develop games for them or do whatever you want, and you could say behind the scenes, listen, you guys are a waste of time. I'm not going to develop for you. To say that up front does not show solidarity in the industry. Right, and I think that that's financially irresponsible. You know what I mean? But not financially, but like on a business level, I find that to be irresponsible to say something like that. It's okay to feel that. Everybody has the right to feel how they want. You can love me, you could hate Colt, you could love Colt, you could hate me. Everybody's free to say it, or everybody's free to feel it, right? Same thing here, but to say that out loud, you're not showing solidarity in the business, and you're trying to patch up a lot of holes in this business right now. And this gaming industry is not going anywhere. It's making billions of dollars. However, there are a lot of noticeable holes in the boat. And there are a lot of people with buckets throwing water, trying to keep that boat afloat, because there's a lot of things going on. And I don't have to mention all the stuff that's going on, okay, with the culture wars and the console wars and the everything else and the politics and the whatever else, people at each other's throats. It's been going on for the last couple of months specifically. More so than usual, people saying Gamergate 2 and all this other stuff, whatever. Anyway, the point is that this is not the time for people to start attacking each other within the industry. And I find that to be, it seems to bother me. Now, the other thing is I want to tie that in directly into the people. And I mean the people as I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us, the customers and the fans of all these consoles. I'm also, and I've said it a couple times on Twitter, and you know what's funny? My engagement has gone down. My numbers have gone down, and I don't care. You know why? Because I'm saying things that people don't want to hear. Or I'm just like, guys, can we not do this? Everybody has been attacking each other relentlessly. Not everybody, but a lot of people have been attacking each other relentlessly since January, when the Xbox news dropped, and then PlayStation they had. There's
been the witch hunts and the quote tweets and the harassment.
It's been a lot of stuff, man. And this is not what I got into this for. I didn't get into this to be part of some war. I didn't get into this to have everybody attack people, to be, you know what I mean? Like a smack talking and this and that. And just like you said, quote tweeting and harassing and blocking and all this other stuff. It's ridiculous. So it happens on the fan level, which is awful to see, and I hate to see it. I really hate to see it. I get people sending me hate mail because I make an appearance on Crossfire. What do you know what I mean? Like, what, I can't have friends in other places? What the hell's the matter with you?
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're surrounded in you get in certain groups and you're surrounded by all this vitriol discussion about one platform, and you agree to some points. Like, I've heard people quote tweet other content creator personalities that a lot of people that are Xbox fans don't like, and they'll like, look at what he said, and I'll go, I mean, he's not off base. He's not like completely wrong. Sure, he's being extra negative, or maybe he or she doesn't know exactly what is really going on the business side. But when you think about a developer saying, it's not worth it, we sometimes question if it's worth it developing for Xbox. Who was it? Michael Yankee says, how much extra development time is it? I don't know, Michael, but I'm thinking, what if it takes you 3 weeks to make the PS5 port, and it takes almost 6 weeks to make the Xbox port because the instructions and the documentation on the port process and certification is a week to 2 weeks longer than a PS5 port? Like, maybe all those things add up, and they're like, it takes almost 2 times longer to get the Xbox version ready and approved and certified, plus it sells half as many. I can see a developer going, is it really worth it? But who was it that said, I said true in the chat. Cecil Bell said, blah, 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 record profits. If you're a developer and a publisher, you should not be sneering or looking down your nose at the opportunity to make extra sales on an Xbox console platform that is not completely dead. It's halfway behind the PS5. So it stands to reason if a game sells 2 million on the PlayStation, it could possibly sell half as many only on the Xbox consoles. Like, maybe it's less than that, but as a developer, whoever this person, Christopher Dring, talked to, who said, is it even worth it to go on Xbox? Like, why are you saying that? Like, you should be scrambling and hoping you can sell on every platform, because guess what? The leading killer hit sale platform is Nintendo, and you can't even put your game on there. If he's talking to let's just pretend, no, we don't know who Christopher Dring has talked to, Mag, right? Let's say he was talking to a prominent developer like Capcom or EA or something big. Like, they're making great money on games. They shouldn't be sitting there going, it's not really worth our time to go on Xbox. They should be hoping to squeeze all that money out, because it's a rare game, Helldivers, maybe Dragon's Dogma this year, that sells more than expected or actually meets expectations.
Right. And, there is a solution to that. Maybe a halfway point for certain developers if they feel that they don't want to release it. Why not just release I understand there's extra development time, just like you had said. However, what about the thought about maybe doing it just digital, like just a digital release for Xbox? If you're worried about putting in a return on investment on the Xbox, if you are projecting that you're going to get half the sales you would
think they do it
on
a lot.
the PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, if your projections are half of what you would get on a PlayStation, for example, then why not just make it digital only?
Don't they do that already, Mag? Aren't there? Isn't there a lot of digital only sales, or is that? Am I seeing that wrong?
I'm just spitballing ideas of like what people can do to make maybe, cut a few corners, not artistically, obviously, and not technically cut a few corners. I mean, cut a few corners on cost in terms of how much they're investing. Right? So they say, listen, we're just going to release the game digitally, and that's all there is to it, and then hope for the best there, and then get something. You're right, because then, you know what, if you're going to squeak out some profit out of it, and if you have people on the Xbox, let's say specifically on the Xbox side of things, and they do enjoy the game, you release a sequel, you may get even more. It might grow the next time you release something else. Right? Like Little Nightmares 1. Look at Little Nightmares 1 did okay. And then it did better when people started recognizing it and realizing that, oh, this is a pretty good game. When by the time Little Nightmares 2 came out, it did very well. And the fan base grew. So maybe, just maybe, it's a possibility that, that you'd be able to get more the next time you release something. At least you plant your flag, and you can maybe build a fan base from there.
Yeah.
However, I do not believe for 1 minute that this was a major developer. I really don't.
Maybe a popular developer? I got to throw something in there because I was trying to make
don't believe it.
Well, I mean, I'm inclined to believe Christopher Dring. He connects with a lot of really
Oh, no.
important.
I'm not doubting his credentials. I'm saying maybe it just wasn't something big because everything big generally doesn't make it to Xbox anyway.
No, I mean, everything big does. I have a quote from Jez Corden I want to say as well. One of the points I was trying to make when I talked about if it was a big developer, and then I got off my own track, was you can't say it's not worth it to put on Xbox when you should also be saying, why in the heck can't we put our games on Nintendo? But like the Nintendo doesn't take, like, let's say you're an EA developer and you're making the next Battlefield game. There's no way they would say, oh, it's not really worth it to put on Xbox because you've got the huge platform, which is Nintendo, and you can't even put your game there. So you can't seriously make a big multi-platform AAA game and say, well, I hope PS5 and PC are enough. You really should be putting your game nearly everywhere because you've got these handhelds and there's way more to the business. So if you say you're not quite sure how big this developer is, I would say, I don't even know if I really believe that's how that person said it. Maybe there's a little bit of a telephone going on there as he recounts the story live on the podcast, and he pulls a Mag Colteastwood and just didn't explain himself correctly or clearly enough. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, like
I got another question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think there's major developers out there who are inherently biased against Xbox and Microsoft just as a brand name?
Of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? There's going to be people who are, I'm just saying it's just a fact of life. I mean, not everybody's going to love everything, right? And the other thing is too, there might be, who knows? Maybe a lot of them have a little bit of disdain for the fact that they're like, ugh, we got to develop for these guys.
The sales are lower. I got to make the Series S version takes a little more time, which I should have thrown in there as well. The Series S takes a little more time than the Series X would, right? Or you have to do a little bit of finagling. Yeah, I mean, you and I could probably sit here and say, I guess it's justified for them to feel a certain way, like, oh, it's like most things sell on the PlayStation and PC. The Xbox doesn't sell as well. It's just an extra thing on our to-do list. Like, oh, I got to do that. I got to take out the garbage and I got to put the bag in. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, that wasn't very nice.
It is what it is, and people are allowed to feel however they want to feel. I just think that there should be some kind of a public decorum when talking about these things. That's where I draw the line where I'm like, listen, it's okay to feel a certain way. You can dislike or like or whatever, or even hate if you're really that hardcore. But at the end of the day, have a little bit of, like I said, have a little bit of tact, have a little bit of class when you're talking in public about your business. Because at the end of the day, it's still your business, your people, and it's your industry.
Your network.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Your network of people. That's why they say, like, for example, the restaurant industry, even though I am out of the restaurant industry for now, it's well over a decade and a half now, almost a decade and a half I've been out of the restaurants, but now I'm in corporate. However, do you know that every move I make in corporate, do you know that every restaurant in all of Toronto knows what I'm doing? They all know what I'm doing. So that's why they say never burn your bridges. Never burn your bridges. Because
somebody said that in chat too.
Not do that. Thank you. Whoever said that in the chat, you're absolutely right. And sorry, I didn't see it. I wasn't looking at the screen. But at the end of the day, you burn a bridge somewhere, everybody's going to find out about it. And let me tell you something. A big industry is awfully small when you start to network. And this world, as we become a global village because of technology, it's gotten even smaller. I mean, I could pick up the phone. Like, imagine, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it wouldn't even be that simple that we'd be able to talk to all these people all around the world and all these different countries all at the same time.
You never hear all these developers say things. And what to totally support your point you made, beautiful one, by the way, that developer should have said to Christopher, like, oh, hey, by the way, don't repeat that, because that's going to make all of us look like schmucks, right?
Well,
am I allowed to use that word?
You're allowed to use that word. You can even say schnook if you're Ray Liotta. Rest in peace, Ray Liotta.
I mean, it's not for us. Meg and I definitely aren't saying, hey, don't say this stuff because it makes people look bad. Not to protect us as fans, but you're talking about your network industry, people that you rely on and support, and they support you. Not just the customers. Like Meg makes a good point. You're kind of, if a developer says, like, is it worth our time on Xbox? That kind of makes you guys look bad as a developer, and your publisher probably doesn't like that very much because that publisher wants that money. Jez Corden said,
"Oh yeah, yes." What do you say?
Just Gordon said, weird. The major third party that release big games keep releasing their big games on Xbox. So weird. So very weird.
Isn't that what I just said? Like 10 minutes ago? It was basically like it couldn't, that's why I can't for any reason believe it was something big or from a big developer, a big studio, because all those big games still go to Xbox. So what the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah, look at Tugger Nuts.
Weird ass.
Some weird what?
Sorry for that name.
Oh, I totally derailed you. Sorry.
No, it's that name made me laugh. By the way, the game adaptation newscast. Listen to this guy. He says, "Mag is making sense today. I must be losing it." You're not losing it. It's just sometimes I get very excited and sometimes I go off a little bit. I'm kind of like the Incredible Hulk. I'm always angry, but not really. But today,
sometimes your butt and your butt and your brain get wired together and everything just fires on all cylinders. Hey, dude, I get that about once a month. Yeah.
Well, once a month. So never mind. I won't even say it.
Yeah, we all know what it is.
I was going to make a feminine joke.
Yeah, well,
I think we all know what we're talking about. Shout out to the Acolyte. For those who know, you know. Anyways, carry on, Colteastwood.
Yeah, I also replied to Jez. This was Hazador, who's reports on a lot of news. I said, now I'm not quite 100% on this, but I said a major multi-platform publisher isn't going to complain about Xbox sales in the EU when they're selling their games worldwide. You know, Christopher Dring looks at the physical market in the EU, and he also was looking at, we saw a 47% decline for Xbox in consoles. Last week we reported on that, but Christopher Dring looks at a lot of boxed physical sales, but I'm sure he sees as much as he can see. I said it doesn't add up. The only major publisher games that skip Xbox are under exclusivity contracts with PlayStation or Nintendo. And I think for the most part, there are some outliers. Somebody said that Monster Hunter Rise, I think, is a big Capcom game, big franchise. All the games, most of them been on Xbox. That one skipped that one just completely skipped the Xbox. So there are the outlying exceptions.
Which one skipped the Xbox though?
I think it was called Monster Hunter Rise. Somebody replied to me in the chat.
Was
Let me
it?
look. What
was the one that Jez was obsessed with for like ever? Was that just Monster Hunter
Monster
World?
Hunter World, that was like 2017, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or 2016, 2017. It was a huge game. Hold on. Somebody replied to me said, yeah, Monster Hunter Stories. I'm sorry. Monster Hunter Rise was on Game Pass. I'm sorry. I'm sure you guys were all there. They're correcting me in the chat. Chat's
you know what? Maybe Capcom and Xbox can both learn from each other and start numbering their games and their products. Like Xbox One, Xbox 2, Xbox 3, Xbox 4, that would have been okay. And then you know the other thing is Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter 2, Monster Hunter 3 instead of Rise, World, Stories, Tales, you know.
Yeah, I guess Monster Hunter Stories was a Nintendo Switch port, and it got
I'm just kidding.
Ported onto PlayStation and PC and didn't even bother coming to Xbox, and that happens once in a while.
Like Vice City Stories. Like remember that? Like Grand Theft Auto. I don't think it came out for any other things.
It was on the DS, and it featured Phil Collins. I never played it.
It was on. I played it. I actually played it on the. What the hell was the PlayStation handheld? The
PSP or the
Vita? It was the PSP. No, it was the PSP. It came out for the PSP way back in the day. I played it there. I think it was either Vice City Stories or the other one, the other city, Liberty City Stories. I think it was one of those two, or Chinatown Stories. Like
Chinatown was on the DS. I played that for a minute. It's like an isometric.
Yeah, it was like all these like little offshoots. So I guess this Monster Hunter Tales is the same idea. Anyways, yes. What's up?
Stories or whatever. It's like, I've been a certain way. I'm like, Monster Hunter. I tried it, and then after Dragon's Dogma, I'm like, maybe I have a lot to learn. I might need to go back and play Monster Hunter World or something. All right, you guys, if you're enjoying the show, we're just really getting rolling here. That was that was just the first topic. Hit the like button. We got.
Yes.
We what? Who?
No, we got 700. We have 748 in the chat right now.
Yeah,
so,
thank you guys for
going. And the original Jay is going to be booted out of the chat because he said Australian Toblerone is better than Canadian Toblerone. First of all, jokes on both of us because they're made in Switzerland. All right. So, but hey, what
if one tastes way better? You can't do that. You're not in Australia. How dare you?
I'm gonna have to ask Riskit to fire me one off from Australia. It'll take 7 years to get here, and then I'll try it, and then I'll let him know.
I don't like the Toblerone anymore. My neighbor bought me for Christmas. He bought me like a big old hexagon, like it looked like a bazooka, and I went through it in like 2 weeks, and after that, I'm like Toblerone.
2 weeks,
maybe less.
I eat that in like a day, dude. I eat that in like a day and a half. I am obsessed with that thing. When I start, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna eat one.
Did you have to go to the dentist to get new teeth after that?
Yeah, well, And then I'm like, all right, I'll have 2 pieces. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching TV and I ate 7 or 8, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot. I feel like Chris Farley. I'm like, I'm starving.
You're like, I got Toblerone's ledge right here.
Yeah.
let me read a couple member chats here.
Yeah, go.
Thank you so much. Right before we started the show, B. Martin gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much for doing that. Hey, today, toward like in the second hour, I'm gonna pick a winner. I'm gonna have my moderator pick somebody from the channel membership that has a channel membership icon, and I'm giving away a copy of Dragon's Dogma 2. So yeah, I'll get that sent out to you. So gosh, what a great game!
Very nice. Hey, that's guys. That's a big. That's a big win right there. Whoever gets that, congratulations. That's really good. And it's a hot game, man.
It's so good, man. I don't normally do giveaways because I'm like, I hope people want to be here just to be here. But you've all been so generous and you've done so much to support us, and we really appreciate it. We've got B. Martin says, let's go Ecstasy, Colt Mag. Let's have a good show, boys. A great show. We also got Pierre David Moreau, who joined channel membership.
Hey, what's up, Pierre?
Yeah. And Bionic Wolf.
He's a smart aleck, that guy. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Oh, in the chat. Oh, he's always saying something. Yeah. Pierre, of course I do. Pierre, always watching those French. I'm always watching them. I'm right next to Montreal. Okay,
because you're surrounded by French Canadians. You got to watch all French.
Hey, man.
Say, hey, I know everything over my backyard.
Let me tell you something. Montreal's 3.5 hour drive from me. Okay, I know that they're always on the border, ready to attack at any moment. I'm watching them all, either when they're from France or whether they're from Quebec.
They're like throwing berries from the border.
They're throwing cigarettes. Look, we're throwing our cigarettes at you.
I fought in your general direction.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a classic line. So, Bionic Wolf says, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Udana Kizada with a $5 super chat says, today a shout out to canine users, Bionic Wolf, Red Wolf, world-renowned Geohound, and that guy, the elementary killer Clown Wolf, Bionic Hero Dude. Thank you for keeping an eye on who's here. Abdel says, listen to this. GTA 6 is not coming to PC, so it won't be on Steam Deck or ROG Ally. If Microsoft brings the Xbox handheld in 25, can it run GTA 6? Talk that crap, he says. We were talking before the show, right? And you're like, what the crap? We talked about the Xbox handheld like 2 months ago. Now, talk that stuff, bro.
Okay,
talk it.
Kind of. You know what? Actually, I was pissed, but now I'm not pissed, and I'll tell you why. Originally, when I see all these podcasts in the last 24 hours going, Xbox handheld, Xbox handheld, Xbox handheld, and I'm like, what the hell? We were talking about this in January. Remember when I dropped that news? And we were talking about it on the show. You have the thumbnails and everything saying Xbox, Xbox handheld. I was telling about how the Surface team was developing it, this and that. It may be dockable. It may not be. Don't know because it's still in the early phases, right? Of development and all that.
I've got some ideas. We'll get into that. Go ahead.
Sure. And we talked about that 2 months ago. I brought that 2 months ago. Jez casually mentions it, Jez Corden. And then all of a sudden the whole world's like, oh, there's an Xbox handheld out there. And I'm like, we were talking about this in January 10th. What the hell? What happened?
Yo, gosh. We were talking about the Xbox handheld.
I went from Mickey Mouse to like Seinfeld. I was like, what happened?
What's the deal with the Xbox handheld?
Yeah.
Kramer.
Why is Jez Corden talking about handhelds 2 months later? No,
I have no idea, Jerry.
Yeah. Listen, I know why. Listen, obviously,
I can only do Jez, what's his name?
Jez has got more contacts than I do, and his are obviously extremely reliable. So when he says something, it's obviously holds more merit than when I do. However, IGN.
I mean, you are the guy that said it was gonna be 4K 120, but I said Redfall is gonna be Game of the Year.
It was benchmark. It was a benchmark. Jesus Christ. Anyways, the thing is. Yeah, all right. Slide whistle nose, Colt. Yeah, him and I gotta get a shirt actually of you
What?
And what the hell's his name there? Lion Ryan there from Sony. And put you remember that all the Lion Ryan long.
Oh, I'll get the bobblehead drawn on the shirt, and he's got his hands around our shoulders.
I'm buying that, eh? Like the digital Jim Ryan. I'm 100% buying that. I know it's like an NFT, but I'll take it anyway. The thing is that obviously his sources are, he's got more pull. But IGN, GameSpot, and VGC, and a couple other people did report my report, and they did actually credit me. I'll give them that. But that was back in January. They said, oh, whatever, Xbox guy, whatever, mag, this and that. So they did credit me. However, it disappeared, and now all of a sudden it just came back. So my question is, I know this, I'm just joking around, by the way, Jez, I love you. Rand, 50-50. But my question is, did something change in the last 2 months? Like, did they maybe alter their ideas? Did they alter, or their what they're working on?
I think Jez had talked about the Xbox handheld more carefully during the time that we were talking about it, because some of the stuff I'd heard like in cross channels, and you had heard something from somebody completely different. And so we talked about it. And then I think Jez has done a lot of persistent digging on, like, are you guys going to do this, or are they going to do this? So I think that's why he came to the point last week where he's just like, Paris Lilly said, man, having an Xbox handheld would be amazing. And Jez said publicly on Twitter, and you're gonna get it, right? You're gonna get one, right? So
even
I want because I don't know how to approach this. There's a lot to talk about, but why don't you start, Mag, by kind of asking me some questions about the handheld, and maybe we'll break down some of the stuff that we've either heard or we think, because a lot of this is conjecture and speculation. Then some is like little hints that we've heard. But I'm just approaching this chat and audience where I would not be surprised if Sarah Bond or Phil announced they're working on an Xbox handheld at the Game Awards at the end of 2024. I would not be surprised. I'm not making, it's a prediction. It's a prediction based on, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. It just makes the most sense to me right now based on everything they've been saying. Like Sarah Bond said, we have hardware to announce in holiday 2024. I'm like, holiday? Like that, you make your big announcements at the Game Awards. So Meg, let's just start asking both you and I the questions, and we'll kind of break down what we think this thing is.
Sorry, Dana McLaughlin in the chat just made me almost pee myself. He's like, oh, hey, Mag, I don't know if you heard, but they might be making an Xbox handheld.
He's an insider, confirmed.
So now, like I said, originally I was getting kind of pissy pants about it. I'm like, what the hell is this all of a sudden? Like, it's just like, where's this coming from? I said, we literally reported this 2 months ago, and it got a little fanfare, but maybe I think a lot of people were kind of hesitant as to the validity of my statement. So I'm like, all right, that's fine.
And we're just a little show. And we're not like the big Xbox 2, the show that puts the world to sleep.
Oh, well, how about that, Randall Thor? Well, anyways, the thing is sorry, that was the war horn. We should have like a debate with it's called the Xbox 4.
Yeah.
Sound the horns of the deep. What I think is,
can you imagine being the guy that has to go up to that Helm's Deep horn that goes like 40 feet down into the mud? I shouldn't do that. I know. Some guys listening to the show in the car like really loud, and we just did that, and it's like blew his speakers out. Anyways, like I said, at first I was getting a little bit like, what the hell? We were talking about this, and it was kind of dismissed, but I understood. I'm not a proven whatever. I don't even want to be called an insider, because I don't consider myself that. But maybe I'm just considered unproven, and so I'm like, that's fine, that's fair. But when it came back out after 2 months, it kind of disappeared for a bit. Couple of big news media picked it up, and then they dropped it, but then they picked it up again, and now everybody's talking about it. So I'm wondering if there was a change in the R&D. Like for example, what I had originally heard, that it's the Surface team working on it. Jason Ronald was not working on it directly. I'm not saying that he's not involved. I'm saying he wasn't working on it directly. This is all I heard, okay? Okay.
Whether people believe it or not. And the Surface team was working on it, and it was going to be a dockable handheld. However, the only thing that also I heard is that I did not hear that it was coming out this generation. It was going to be part of the next generation. It was going to be another 2 SKU approach. And then there was going to be a dedicated box under the TV, so to speak. and then this dockable handheld thing. But now it sounds like things have evolved maybe differently, and maybe a different game plan, or maybe this was always the game plan. Now, is this thing going to be like a completely native handheld ROG Ally Steam Deck kind of thing, as opposed to a dockable thing? So maybe what I heard was a prototype, or it's evolved to something else, or maybe this was the plan the whole time, and maybe wires were crossed somewhere along the line.
I think some of the hints and discussion are probably wire crossed.
Sure.
I keep hearing that this thing is not coming out earlier, that it's supposed to be, like you said, that it's supposed to be released with the regular set-top console box. So
Yes,
you'd have two SKUs. So basically the dockable handheld, which I don't want to keep saying I heard. So I'm just going to say I'm predicting that the dockable handheld is still very much part of the plan. That the dockable handheld would be the sort of the Series S of the next X. Like there'll be the Series X2, and then there'll be maybe they'll call it Xbox Series S2 handheld, or I don't know, maybe just Xbox Series handheld or something. Those names are like dumb, right? But
or the Xbox Portal. Sorry.
What I think with this handheld is there's two crazy, I'll call them predictions. The Xbox handheld might not be called the Xbox whatever at all. Based on what Phil Spencer said today with Polygon, he made a hint that the Xbox handheld, I'm going to fill in some blanks, would be better suited to be more of a Microsoft Windows console handheld that has the full native Xbox experience on it. Which means that they can sell this thing for $700, $600, or $700 and make it in line with the Lenovo Go or ROG Ally in power. Next year or the year after, you could have this equivalent powered handheld that is going to sit next to its market competitors. And it's not going to be $300 or $400, because then you have to have this underpowered, natively game playing console that's hard to develop for. So maybe Phil and the team and the Surface team, in concert with Jason Ronald and this Ronnie person that's also on the charge of the hardware team at Xbox or Microsoft, maybe they've thought, let's make this thing a Microsoft gaming product that fully has every game you've ever bought that's now available on the Xbox would be on this console, on this handheld. Also, you can load up your Steam. You can load the Steam app on it. Like, it can be the Lenovo Go or the ROG Ally with the full Xbox experience. Like Phil said, your achievements, your friends list, your saves, your games you own, the games you played on your Series X. That is what I think this new handheld is. I think it's way more exciting for even someone like me that's not super excited about a handheld. This could be a big game changer for Xbox, where this could really put them in so many markets that they're just not going anywhere in.
The fact that you mentioned Microsoft as opposed to Xbox, I think that leads more credence to the to the scoop I got about that it was the Surface team that was working on it more so than the Xbox team. So I'm like, all right, well that makes a little bit more sense. So what I'm thinking is there a possibility then that Xbox, it's clearly happening. You could see it, that Microsoft and Xbox are slowly merging into one unit. It's almost like they're being enveloped by Microsoft and sort of integrating, the two different brands, so to speak, and sort of morphing them into one, like basically bringing them very slowly bringing them into the fold, as opposed to a completely separate entity upon itself, right? That's just a subsidiary of Microsoft. Like, you got Microsoft as like the umbrella, and then you've got, the different departments there. It almost feels like they're kind of scooping them at Xbox and then bringing them, you know what I'm saying? Bringing them closer in. And then they're having other teams, especially our different tech R&D teams, working on, whatever they're doing. Now, the only thing is that I've seen this in the chat by a few people now that I think is a little interesting is what?
Can you hold that thought? I want you to read Rory S's comment, and I want you to talk on it for a second and see if you can get back on track.
Rory S.
In orange.
God. The chat went by so fast.
It's like 8 from the bottom.
I don't
Rory
see
wants
it,
to
dude.
know if you
Oh,
sell
there it
this
is.
thing.
If you
Go ahead.
sell it as a Windows device, sorry, Rory S says if you sell it as a Windows device, couldn't they get couldn't they get PlayStation games on it? I guess you could technically, but
On Steam,
I
absolutely.
oh yeah, and if you're paying for it, I don't even think Sony would care because if
Yeah.
like so, why would Sony care? Because they're going to make money off of it. Why not? And seeing that Sony is planning, not planning, Sony is expanding their horizons in terms of where they're going to sell their product because they stand behind their product. I'll give them that. That they're confident on the quality of their product. That they don't care, and they'll be like, "Listen, man, we're going to start selling this in more places in order to get people to experience these games. The games they make are great. Their first-party games are great. I mean, there's someone on the fence maybe with the Rise of the Ronin. I'm not touching that game for now. Maybe if it was heavily discounted. But the point is, their history and their pedigree and their track record is pretty solid. So I could see them not caring. And I would say, you know what? They're not a bad idea to be able to do that. Now, here's the thing I wanted to get to is that the price point is where some people in the chat have shown a little bit of grievance towards. And they're saying, listen, if you're trying to get more Game Pass subs, those Game Pass new Game Pass subs aren't paying $700 for a handheld. That's for the extreme, like, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to be devil's advocate here and just say that if it's like $600-700, that's a tipping point for a lot of people. I mean, look at the PSVR 2. Regardless of the fact that it doesn't have as much software to back it up, but let's face it, if the PSVR 2 was $300 instead of like $800, I'm paying for up here.
Well, I don't think price is a problem. I don't want to get into that. We broke it down pretty well and go live on Cases channel.
Yeah,
Shout out to Red Wolf when he listens to this. He's gonna laugh that I flubbed those names.
I watched the show.
PSVR 2 is failing because it doesn't have enough games.
No,
kind of like Xbox has a problem. If Xbox had more games, they'd be selling a little bit better. So Jizzy Loop has some questions. Jizzy Loop says, sure. Why are we coping about a handheld? Like the handheld is just one piece of the puzzle that Xbox is doing. And in fact, not only are they doing it, almost everyone, Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam, and now you have these other brands making handhelds. Handhelds are doing really, really well right now. I would actually love to see the numbers of what the handhelds sold just last year in 2023 because they're really new to the market and they're becoming a hot commodity item. And the Steam Deck is not an Xbox handheld. You have to brute force or you have to modify the software to get Game Pass on there. The Lenovo Go or the ROG Ally is closer to what would be an Xbox handheld. Phil Spencer, the head of gaming, is playing on the Lenovo Go and looking at this thing saying, how can we get something like this and get the full Xbox experience plus all of the other games that we buy? Because I know all of you here in the chat and watching, and Mag included, we do not just play on one place. We don't own our games only on one device or one store. And if you can get a handheld, if you want one, because let's be honest, outside of the US or maybe North America, the culture of a handheld is much more prevalent than it is for us here, who our commute involves us behind the wheel. My friends in the UK or in Europe, they take a train or a tube and they're on there for an hour to an hour and a half. And a handheld is fantastic for that lifestyle. All right. So that's kind of where they're going with the handheld.
And you're right. And I like the idea. They're just going to have to be careful with the price point. That's all I'm trying to say. It's just because the majority of people that you're going to get purchasing something like that of that quality, and you want the quality there, but my goodness, if you're talking anywhere between $600 and up, American, that's a lot of money. And then that's what, like, for example, like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally here are over $1,000 in Canada, right? So, it's just like, and that's for the mid-size one, like with the mid-size hard drive or whatever. Then, it goes up from there. Then it's like $1,200 to $1,300 for the higher model one. And I'm just like, that's a little ridiculous for a handheld. So those countries you mentioned that they have a culture of handheld because a lot of them take public transit, a lot of, not a lot of cars, well, there are a lot of cars in those countries. Let's not be ridiculous. But when it comes to commuting for work, a lot of them do use those cell phones, handhelds, whatever. You'd be hard pressed to find anybody buying something for $700 to be, to play on the subway. They have to be careful here. And I think that dockable might be a better idea.
I love the idea of a dockable. Like, Randall Thor and I were on the phone. Like, when I make fun of Randall Snore or their podcast, I do it because their podcast is incredibly successful, and they're really good friends. And Rand and I talk on the phone every day. Like, I twirl what little bit of hair I have left in my finger. Hi, Rand, how are you doing? And we talk for hours. But Rand was like, hey, Cole, what would you do if the Xbox dockable handheld was more powerful than the console? And he's just kind of joking, like, what if the traditional console that comes out in 2026 is like Series S equivalent power for the future, and the handheld is more powerful? I'd be like, if it's dockable, I would definitely buy the dockable one and just leave it docked. Like, that would be my console. But I don't know, it's kind of funny. But
if you're trying to build a fan base larger, it's the price that's the problem. And like, for example, the price is not the problem. Well, I mean, it is for some of us, but some people out there, but like the 15 to 20% hardcore, they're the ones who are going to go buy those things. I talked to some of the other podcasters that I do shows with and other YouTubers, whatever. When the ROG Ally came out, no problem. They dropped $800. Boom. You know what I mean? $700 for the top model, this and that. Same thing with the Steam Deck, same thing, whatever, with the Lenovo. But
that's how much people are paying for those things, though. At that price point you're talking.
Yes, but those are not the people you're trying to attract. You're trying to expand your fan base. You're not going to do it at that price point. That's the problem. And regardless of the software, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this from a business sense, that you want to kind of, I mean, it's such a hard thing, because if you go too low, you're going to be left with a mid product
that nobody wants to support. Yeah.
Right, that nobody wants to support. And then you have something, then when you do have something that they do want to support because it's powerful enough, then it's too expensive for the consumer. So it's this double-edged sword that I'm going to sort of, I mean, we talked about this right here, and we're, having a great conversation about it. The chat's having a great conversation about it. And I'd be very curious to see how this poll ends up.
I think it'll be split for sure.
The thing is that we're just going to have to wait and see what they do at this point. Like, we talked about it. We got it out of our system. We've laid out our thoughts and feelings on it. Now we're going to have to wait and see what Microsoft does. And then when Microsoft makes their move, then we can look at that and say, all right, that's a great idea, or maybe it's not, or, well, maybe it's an okay idea. Let's see how it works. And let's see, a year from then, if it actually took off, it has traction or whatever.
Yeah, Christopher in the chat, Christopher K says the Series S is like $200 to $300 and still doesn't sell. Like, it's at the right price point. I honestly, I don't want Xbox to make a handheld and try to be cost efficient with it. I think they need to make something that sits among their competitors, because their competitors are charging $400 to $700 depending on how much storage or power you have. I
think 400 is reasonable.
I just want developers to be able to feel like, you know what, I can make a console version on that. And maybe in the future, maybe in next generation, they don't have to be so restrictive about how games run on the hardware. I have no idea. Well, question I want to ask is, would you guys feel a certain way if this Xbox handheld comes out and it's called like the Microsoft the Microsoft X Glass, like someone said in the chat, or the Microsoft Glass? So I don't know what they would call it, but if it didn't have an Xbox logo on it. Personally, I think if Phil and the team wanted to make this dockable handheld that Meg and I have been talking about for 2 months, that it would have a Windows logo and an Xbox logo on the on the front of it or on the back, like in silver, to really emblazon the concept that you can do your Windows games you own, meaning Steam, Ubisoft, whatever, and your Xbox. Like, you get both. And maybe that would be a more powerful thing for $700. People are like, it could play all the PC games that I have or want to get or need to get, plus my Xbox library comes with this thing. Shoot, I mean, that makes it so worth it. And I'm looking at this poll, which is completely split. It's slightly ahead with, yes, I would buy a $700 Xbox native PC handheld. And I don't know. Also tell us in the chat where you live, because I would really just make the guess that people in North America, their lives, when you and I are out, Meg, I don't want to bring a handheld with me. I can't use it. Like, I'm at the store, or you're doing something, or you're at a baseball game, whatever. It's like you're either using your hands or your eyes for something besides gaming. I sit here and I sit down and I play a game. That's when I play my games. Yeah, maybe I play Jewel a little bit too much on my phone.
I do. The only handheld I own is a PS Portal. because I wanted to see. I play it when I'm like in bed or something. If I just don't feel, I'm like, you know what, I'm going up to bed. And I'll just sit there for like an hour while I'm in bed already under the covers, and I'll play for a bit. I've played it outside of my house, no problem. But the thing is, like you said, when I'm out of my house, I'm doing something. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I leave shortly, and I'll be leaving the country for the rest of the week. I'm not bringing it with me because I'm not going to have, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to be doing stuff.
Right.
I'm going to be in a hotel. I'm going to be eating. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be that. I'm going to be in a casino. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be over in a park. You know what I mean? I'm going to be doing all these different things. I'm not going to be sitting down playing anything. So, like, to me, it doesn't really do much for me unless that was the only way that I was able to access the games, for example. Like, for example, a Nintendo Switch. A Nintendo Switch is the only way I can access those games. However, when it comes to Xbox or PlayStation, for the most part, like I got the consoles right there, and if I'm going to be at home playing, generally I'll be in front of the TV. Well, one of the several I have set up in different areas. Bless you, in different parts of the house.
Did that come through?
Upstairs. Oh yeah, it was.
I tried to hit the mute, and I thought, well,
no,
all right.
It was like a nuclear bomb there. Yeah, and like Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer produced.
You heard it, but I muted it on OBS. So.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Oppenheimer produced that sneeze. It was that.
Well, if I'm not on a show, my C's are normally like, I'm yelling you.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. What are you like? It's like a Japanese guy yelling at his friend.
I mean, I do. I get, you get that tickle in your nose, and I'm like, hey, grab you when I sneeze. Like, I'm usually like trying to do something. I'm writing something. I'm working on something. I'm trying to play, trying to cook, and a sneeze comes up and interrupts my life. And I'm like, how dare you? That's how I sneeze. Yeah. So.
Any hoops. I don't think that it would be something I would be interested in because if I want to play something on Xbox, I'll just play it on the Xbox that's behind me. Like I said, I got the PS Portal because it was cheap. And I wanted to try it out. I thought it was cute, and I love the screen. The screen is gorgeous. If Xbox can produce something of that, like that screen quality, that size, and how light it is, I think that'd be wonderful. I don't think they'll be able to do that.
And if the Microsoft Surface team's working on it, I think they kind of want to do that. Microsoft Surface tries to do that. We want to be like Apple and try to make the stuff look really nice and sleek. And we need a little bit of that because Xbox only goes so far with that.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see. I just. Like for that price point, I don't think it's something I would purchase because, like I said, generally speaking, I got it behind me. Now, like I said, I got the Portal as a experiment of sorts because it was only a couple $100. You know what I mean? And of course, there's not really any hardware built into it, right? It's basically utilizing the console. It's just well. No pun intended. It's just it's a portal. I mean, that's all it is, right? So there you go. Something like that would be, obviously a little bit meatier, but I'm. Anyway, we shall see. Let's see. All this conjecture, all this talk. Let's see what they plan on doing officially, and then we can talk from there. And then we can say, we can, have ideas of what we think will sell or how it will do, and of course, price points, right?
Yes.
And Colt is already having a blast.
Yeah, I mean, I want them to go above I want them to be at the market price point of their competitors and just make a great product. Don't you love it on TV movies when they're playing a game? They're like, nobody's using all those buttons at once. Stop it. So.
And so violently.
It's so violently. I was like, you're playing a racer. Calm down. Calm down. Yeah. Let me get to some questions. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I have a friend who could do the Casey Kasem so perfectly. He's like, this dedication goes out to a dead dog. He does it so perfectly. Danny says, if the handheld doesn't run Windows, it will fail. Facts. I think he's right. I was asking for an Xbox handheld for years, and now I won't let go of my Steam library. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for the super, because I own like 45 pretty good games on Steam. And then if I had this thing, and I don't know, it's like a lot of people are like, oh, PC, gross. And you're kind of one of those guys. But I own I
just make jokes, but yeah.
Yeah, I own like 15 really great games on Ubisoft, like the really good ones, like, and EA. So I have like Mass Effect Trilogy and a bunch of other stuff. Like I would be able to load up all those things, on something like that. So anyway, yeah. maybe I would be excited about it. In fact, I haven't really told anybody, but I might be taking a trip for a few days. I'll be on the plane for a really long time if I can get everything situated. And I was thinking about buying like the ROG Ally or the Lenovo Go. And I was going to start putting out feelers. Which one should I buy? Because if I'm on the plane for a really, really long time, I would like to sleep for half of it and play some of the games I bought on PC. I thought it'd be really cool. So we'll see. A handheld the market's changing so much, Mag, where we've talked about the niche kind of level line of the consoles where they've done really well, but they aren't really growing anymore in the market. And they're definitely not going to go up if you zoom back out in the next 10 years. We talked about that a lot. And maybe the handheld's going to become super popular, but if I can't dock it, you and I won't use it. So Michael Mooney, thank you for the £5 super. A co-development deal between Xbox and Valve with their own software on similar retail boxes. Michael Mooney makes a crazy point that we didn't quite get into. Maybe all this talk we're hearing about, Mag, give me your opinion on this. Maybe Microsoft's just going to do some of the liaison for this thing, and they're going to open this up for third-party developers to create a handheld that is certified by this team to do specific things that they want to do.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's not what we're hearing from any. I mean, you've heard it from different people. I've heard it different people. Jez has heard what he's heard. I don't see it being a third-party hardware. You know what I mean? Like in association or whatever with Microsoft. I just don't see that. I just see that. I just see them making it in house. I mean, that's all. I mean, that's all what we've been told. So I mean, everything's a grain of salt until we see it, right? Until it's physically in front of us. But I don't know. I don't hear any whispers about any of that. I mean,
yeah, I don't either.
But what would be the motivation for that?
The motivation would be to keep Xbox and Microsoft out of the loss margin or whatever of making their own in-house, kind of putting that burden on other developers or other product. Like someone said, like Dell or whatever. Like Lenovo's already got their own. I don't know whether the manufacturer could just like partner in and say we're making this. Just like Xbox and Microsoft didn't make a TV. They went to Samsung and said, here's what it is. Put it in there and we'll partner with you. I can't get over how Michael Mooney looks like a 20 or 30-year-old version of my mom's father, my grandpa. When I look at his picture, he looks just like my grandpa did when he was very, very young. So shout out to Michael Mooney. Next Gen Barbaric, thank you so much for the $10 super. They're talking about the handheld as well. If the handheld is a Windows device, it can also add Steam games. You are correct. It would be a game changer if it runs, this is great, if it runs GTA 6. Imagine on stage, here's our new handheld. And yes, it can run GTA 6. Well, in that case, it would run the Xbox version, but
I'm still, this is my hill, and this is my hill. That is a great super chat, and he's 100% right. That would be massive buzz, and that would get people going right up until they get to the store and the guy says, and that'll be $7.99, please. that's where people are gonna go, oh, all right, that was cute. All right, I'm just gonna go home now.
I don't know. Don't you think people have an expectation of around $700 US for a handheld, that, especially the past 2 years? That's not sticker shock, is it?
No, well, but I mean, like
Steam Deck.
But I mean, how many people are in that ecosystem now? Between the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and the Lenovo, how many? Like, what kind of numbers are we looking at? It's not tens of millions. I can tell you that much.
Well, combined, maybe. Somebody in the chat said that the Steam Deck has sold 5 million units. Somebody said 1.5 million. The ROG Ally probably, I don't know, a couple million. I think the ROG Ally was brand new. I remember that while I was playing Dead Island 2 at launch, Hargeet was like talking this thing up like crazy and bought one. So anyway,
that's where that's the only thing that I'm saying. Like, I agree with all this. I actually think it's a great idea. I think it's something that could really boost the ecosystem that's slumping. I mean, I know people are like, oh, there's lots of engagement. I get it. There's a lot of engagement, but they're trying to get more people in. It's not about appeasing the people that are already there. Those people are there. And even then,
sure. It's even definitely then, some of them for the other people that aren't initiated yet. You're
trying to get more people in. That's the whole point of this, right? You don't spend all that money tens of billions, 80 billion if you want to start adding up everything.
Come on, Mag. Like, you're asking people to Microsoft and Xbox is hoping that people come to the Xbox platform and the ecosystem through Game Pass on the precipice that they can buy a PC, either $600 build or they can build a $6,000 build. I mean, that's really up to you what you want to spend for what you think is worth your money. And a console is definitely, that's kind of what I think that's really great. Capono says we need more games, not hardware. I'm going to cover that in just a second. But when you're looking at a console that is $250 US, you have that option. If you want to build an ultra budget, used parts or finding something on sale and waiting a year till you collect everything, getting something for $600 that can run all these games, you can do that. If you want to be like Zocker and build an Origin PC that comes in a wooden crate, you got to pull all the straw out and it's like, Fragile must be Italian. You can do that. You can't do that, as Fonz would say. Okay, so Capone's like, we need more games, not hardware. Well, Meg and I are talking about a handheld that's going to launch either in 2025 or 2026 alongside Perfect Dark, Blade's coming, Elder Scrolls coming, Clockwork Revolution's probably out by then, Fable's going to be out by then, State of Decay is going to be out by then, Hellblade and Flight Sim and Indiana Jones will already be out, Outer Worlds will probably be getting close to being shown, Contraband will be out by then, Everwild will get like a new update. Hey, we're working on it. I'm looking at a list here. Towerborn are already out. Kojima's game might be shown again. South of Midnight would be out by then.
It'll be out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of games. If you want to complain about the games, then you're certainly welcome, everybody, to complain about.
No, I don't think anybody's. Yeah.
Sorry, Meg.
No.
You and I have talked about this today.
It's not the games. It's not the number of games. It's not even the titles of the games or whatever else. It's they got to nail the quality. That's what it boils down to. They got to be hot. And
there's no video? Oh, hold on.
Oh, yeah. Look, yeah, that's weird.
Could they hear us?
Are we still live? Can everybody hear us?
It was my fault. I went to...
Oh.
Yeah, it's my fault because I clicked away. Did we see gray screens?
It's back.
Yeah. It was... I have to be careful because OBS, if I have something covering Discord, you guys lose the feed of the cameras. Yeah, not the internet.
Yeah.
So far, everything's been good. How long was it like that, by the way, chat? We back.
That's weird. It's okay. It's all right. Well,
anyway, you can hear what were we even saying before then?
We're talking about it's not the number of games. It's not even the titles. It's they've got to nail the quality. So that's what's going to draw people in. Not the people that are already in the Xbox ecosystem. You're trying to draw in more people. So by drawing in more people and building your player base, that player base has to be so passionate about what they're playing that the buzz gets outside of those Xbox walls, gets to the media that's already not really on board with what Xbox is doing. Then they got to start talking about it because it'll be undeniable. If those games are 10 out of 10s, it'll be undeniable that they're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's when the other side of the fence are going to go, God damn, 10 out of 10.
Well,
like now I got to take this seriously. Not one game. And I'm not saying they all have to be 10 out of 10s. You know what I'm saying? They got to be hot that everybody's talking about. It's got to be cultural phenomenon like Elden Ring was.
Or even like Dragon's Dogma or Helldivers, where people are like, hey, man, you got to play this. We said this last week.
Yes, we did, yes.
You and I were talking about this like an hour or two before the show, and I said they really basically, there was an entire year where Xbox didn't have anything. It kind of was almost 2 years because
it hurt the momentum.
You had take your minds back to Halo Infinite's launch and the end of 2021. All of 2022 was a no-show for Xbox game. They all got delayed. And then we waited until May for Redfall, and that was such a failure. It doesn't even count as a game that came out. And then Starfield was kind of mixed, even though it was amazing. And then Forza Motorsport didn't win me over like it should have. So we have to wait until May again for Hellblade. So these are the things that are going to sell the hardware and get people in Game Pass. But Jez Corden said, do I have this written down? I think I do. He said, Game Pass is bigger, record users on console right now, and sales are up for Xbox. Regardless of everything that Mag and I just said, they're actually on the up and up. They've been so low for an entire year. So things are on the up and up, and Hellblade, Towerborn, Flight Sim, Indiana Jones, Avowed, and the new Call of Duty. Like, engagement's actually on the up. And I think really the reason why we didn't sit here and doom and gloom about Xbox going third party and all that crap is because it's just not the reality. The reality is that PlayStation and Xbox right now are saying, man, we got to change a few things because we can't stay like this any longer. So, did we cover everything, chat and audience and Mag, my
I think we covered
co-host,
everything,
when it comes to handhelds? Is there anything else you want to say about it? How about this?
No.
Meg, what color do you think this thing's going to be? Like, do you think it's going to be kind of fat? You think they're going to try and make it slim like a Surface? Give us your prediction.
My prediction would be, well, first of all, if it's going to be native handheld, not dockable, obviously it's going to be meatier, right? Because the hardware has to be built inside. Yes, has to be built inside this handheld console. So I think it's going to be
like
heavier.
this.
It's going to be like the Duke. It's going to be the Duke. It's going to be this friggin' big. It's going to be the size of a football. I think it's going to be very much like the Steam Deck ROG Ally. I don't think anything bigger than that. I would imagine the screen will have to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more sleek. I think that's where the Surface team comes in. Maybe a hybrid of controls / touchscreen, kind of like the PS Portal is.
You think it'll be shaped like the Xbox controller, but stretched out, kind of like my concept on the thumbnail?
Sure.
Or do you think it's going to be more square like the ROG?
I don't know. I think it'll be a little. I don't know. The Surface team, they make some nice hardware.
They do.
They really
it's
do.
Overpriced.
It's nice hardware. Oh, way overpriced. But I mean, it's really nice hardware. So I could see it being very practical. I see the screen being larger because it's just better. Like I think like a meatier version of the PS Portal. That's all I'm trying. That's basically it. Because like I said, the guts are going to have to be inside there, as opposed to something that you would stream. Right? It's not going to be a streaming box. The hardware's going to be in there. So I think it's going to be a combination of like the PS Portal and let's say the Steam Deck in terms of its design and screen size. I could see that.
Udani says, "Nah, y'all forget the Surface Book had the graphics card in the keyboard base and the CPU in the tablet with 2 batteries."
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I never really have seen those. I know that
I'm not a Surface guy.
No.
That's not my thing. But
the Surface and the MacBook Pros are like the most overpriced, in my opinion. Like they're like, I remember my brother was like, I bought my daughter a MacBook Pro for college. I'm like, all right,
yeah, dude. That's like
get her a Chromebook.
It's like the price of a small car. I get a new phone. I get a new phone every year. Not just for me, but also for work. And because I always get the latest and greatest anyway on a phone. I don't need a tablet. I don't use it. I have a tablet sitting upstairs. I don't touch it because my phone does everything I require, and the screen is monstrous.
This thing's like $1,600 right here, and it doesn't even have a controller and a.
Yeah, American.
I want something more than like a 9-inch screen. Like this thing, the Logitech xCloud has a 9-inch screen, so it's. Hold on.
It's almost there,
worth it.
eh? It's almost there.
Hey, I love it. I think the screen is almost the exact same size as a Samsung Galaxy Note 22 that I have here.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's almost the same size. So like I don't have any
because the actual screen's
tablet.
The actual screen's like within the glass a little bit. So for me, I'm not like really hot on a handheld because I like to sit down to a 65-inch OLED because I have beady eyes. Let's move on. We've been on this for a minute.
Sure, we have. Yes, I like it because I like to be on the big screen because I like the experience.
Yeah, I do.
Like I like the experience that for the developers and the studios that put all their effort into these games and these beautiful vistas and everything else. And I like to explore and look around, and I like to climb up to the top of a cliff and then just look down and see all this cool stuff, take screenshots. I want to see that on a 70-inch TV. I don't want to see that on this, right? So, but that's just me.
Yeah, we've got a couple supers about the handheld, but we'll move on.
All right, go for it.
Let's see. Cecil Bell said, whenever I yawn when I was talking about sneezing, he says, I sound like Jodeci harmonizing. It's so funny that they said that because I was listening to Diary of a Madband the other night with my wife in the car, and it brought back so many memories. I'm a huge fan of those guys. Lotus Supreme, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker with the I call this the cyan pair, dancing around saying you are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. Matt Houston with the Canadian 5 says, my guess for the Xbox handheld is Series S specs. Call it the Xbox Series P for portable. The price, $459.
All right, that's a pretty cool name.
I
like the name.
Yeah, Xbox Series P,
Series
sure.
P? Why not?
I just say when you say Series S specs, I would say in 2026 the equivalent of what would be, but I think it's going to be a little more powerful. Highlander says the Ally already streams my Xbox and Steam. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Highlander. Absolutely, it does, and that's what Phil said in his interview. He says the Steam Deck, you got to put Game Pass on there and finagle it, but he said the ROG Ally is more like a native Xbox. But he said I still can't go back and get all my games. I could just do Game Pass and stuff. We've got Assassin, who's been a member for 33 months. We were talking Dragon's Dogma on Party Chat last night. Hardware sales are down. Developers asking why bother. Community morale is low. Third-party games already skipping Xbox. When should we ring the alarm bells? Never. It's just like Mag said. It's just a couple people who've said this. They've spoken out of turn. They're kind of turning their back on their own network community when they make comments like that, and they're actually cutting an opportunity to sell 20,000 copies or 2 million copies. Not a good thing to say if you're a developer, in our opinion. One more. Dex says, how well do you think the battery life would be on a handheld from Xbox? No, not great. Power saving mode and dropping graphics to balance might need to be looked at.
3 hours, 4 hours max.
Yeah.
I can't see any more than that. Even then, I can't see if it's something graphically intensive or performance intensive. It'll drain pretty quickly. Yeah. However, batteries seem to be getting better and better as each product comes out. They just keep, you know what I mean? They keep improving.
The Illuminati has squashed all the real battery technology.
Of course aliens. They have. Well, yeah.
Duh.
How the hell can you? Yeah. How can you power up those ships?
Hold on. Flippin' Mind says I got to pee real quick. So we're just gonna wait here for a minute while he goes to the bathroom.
We have 818 if you include you and I. We have to wait.
Yeah.
Flippin' Minds, shake it quick, and just let me know, and we'll start talking again.
If you shake it more than once, though,
then you're up to something else.
Hey, if you're watching the show and you're enjoying and you're learning stuff, like we're learning things today as we talk about this, hit the like button, show your support for the channel. If you're in the chat, minimize the chat. If you're on mobile, hit the thumbs up. It'll do a little. We really appreciate it. Let's get that thing to 500 before we get out of here. We really appreciate the 800 plus here who are here teaching us all about everything.
Can I just send a public service announcement?
Absolutely.
Anybody trying to add me on Xbox and PlayStation? I just saw I got a couple notifications on my phone. Please don't put it as close friend because I won't accept the close friends ones because my full name is on there. So
do you have to accept each way? Okay.
No, not everybody, but like someone requested me I be a close friend.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then when you do that, my real name is on there, so that's literally only reserved for like literally two people, my son and my wife.
Full disclosure, guys, it was me that did that, and he denied it. So,
so just add me as a friend, and I will add you as a friend, no problem. But the close friend one, I don't do that because I game share with my family. My real name is on there, so I don't put my whole and my last name, so I don't put my real name. I don't let other people see it. So yeah, it's
cool.
No
You're
offense
getting
to anybody.
It's cool that you're getting some things, bro. We went on this handheld for a minute. We got to talk about Marvel's 1943. Amy Hennig is working with Unreal Engine 5, where the game makes itself. They don't have to do anything. It's fantastic.
Look out, developers.
Now, I kind of mean it. Unreal Engine 5 is actually going to speed up development for games. Amy Hennig and Skydance Media has been working on Marvel's 1943 Rise of the Hydra since 2021. This game is set to come out in 2025, which means it's not a 6-year development cycle for a AAA game. It is a 4-year development cycle. It's back in line with what we're used to, and it's because they're using MetaHuman, capturing the face, animating it all in real time so they can see exactly what it looks like under the actual lighting of the environment. They've got a virtual guy with a camera where they can look around the world and see what the world looks like in full rendered quality graphics. This game looks incredible. There's no smoke and mirrors. This is what it's going to look like, and it's probably going to run at 30 FPS but it's still going to be really, really good. Mag, did this one blow your face off your skull, or were you like, it's more Marvel?
No. Here's the thing. I am in the same boat as Randall Thor when I say that I get excited for trailers, but if I don't see the gameplay, I just like, okay, that was great. I enjoyed it. I'm going to get more excited when I actually see gameplay, because then you know what you're doing, because this is an interactive experience, right? Video games are an interactive experience. And I know that Rand is the same way. He feels the same way that I do. I've heard he's talked about it a lot on Xbox too, and on other shows. And he says the same thing. He says, yeah, I enjoy them. I get excited, but I prefer gameplay trailers, because then I could say, wow, I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be the one jumping from the wing of a plane onto a moving Jeep, and from there onto the side of a train, and then, crawl up a building or whatever the hell you're doing, right? So I looked at that and I said, wow, that's incredibly impressive, and it did look really good. And I know they were showing it on Nerdrotic's channel, and they were watching it, and actually he said, he goes, it's a new show. He didn't realize it was a game because it looked so good. He says, is this a new show? He thought it was a Disney Plus animated show, and then the other guys were like, no, dude, it's a game. So it is very impressive, and of course you got Amy Hennig behind it, who is of course the mastermind behind Uncharted and the kind of action set pieces you got from Uncharted 2. Still to this day, to me, nothing
has beat the Uncharted 2 train sequence for me.
The train sequence is still one of the greatest video game action set pieces of all time. I actually think Uncharted 4 in Africa on the motorcycle scene, and then the chase, and the truck, mackerel. And the trucks is probably one of the most breathtaking things I've ever seen. Now I understand she didn't work on that one, but the other ones, the earlier ones she did, they all took homage from what Amy Hennig did, right? So I think that this game, you've got Captain America, you've got an earlier Black Panther, not T'Challa. And I think between the two of them, super soldiers, I think this is going to be one hell of an awesome game. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a third-party game. Skydance, I believe, is making the game, and I think it's going to do great. I just don't know when. Is it going to be this generation?
No. They said 2025. So
they did say 2025.
It's coming out less, a year and a half from now.
I would say easily November.
Yeah,
between October to December of 2025, if that's the case.
Fantasy Night goes, I am so sick of the Marvel shiz. Bro, I get you. When I saw dude, more Marvel,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong, because they've really effed up. Disney's really destroyed the brand, and he's not wrong. But let's just see what Amy Hennig could pull off, because
even in 2021, I think the Marvel stuff was starting to too much butter across too much bread.
You know what? After Endgame, everything went to hell. But the point is,
it's a different. It's not a Disney game. It's not.
No. It's not a Disney game. So let's see what Amy Hennig could put together with Unreal Engine 5. I think this is going to be a hot game, man. I think so.
Someone said, was that all just a cutscene? There was a lot of cutscene camera.
Yes, it was.
But that's what the game. Make no mistake. That is exactly what the game is going to look like at all times. And Digital Foundry is breaking it down. I was listening to their podcast this morning. I would have said this way before they said that. Because I watched the hour-long Unreal Engine presentation. And sorry, if I have pauses, I'm putting together words instead of saying I'm trying not to say That's what the game is going to look like at all times. Because they're using MetaHuman. When they zoomed in, when they were close on Cap's face and this fantastic Black Panther actor who, oh my gosh, he was so crunchy. He looked so good. He looked so charismatic. When you're seeing that's the model that will be in the game at all times, because that's how Unreal Engine 5 works right now. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I was saying I like the setting, 1943. So we're gonna get a period piece. I think I love that. I love the recreation of period pieces in video games, whether it's Victorian era, whether it's
they're not going to be 2015's New York or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, no. I want to see. I love that stuff. Give me that 1943 vibe. I enjoy that. That's why I love the Mafia games so much. Not just because it was an Italian thing, but it's also I enjoy the setting.
But also because it's an Italian thing.
Also because it's an Italian thing.
No, I do love the period piece things. That's why I was bummed when
Yeah,
GTA wasn't a period piece. Like, I needed that again.
That was originally the early rumors. You remember that way back when, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, they were saying that GTA 6 was actually going to take place in the 70s and 80s.
I know, I wanted that so bad.
No, sorry, the 70s into the early 80s, and it was going to dovetail into Vice City, which is 84. So, like, it was going to be about the drug trade in like Mexico. And South America and like Colombia and stuff like that, and it was going to build up and then make its way to the United States into the 80s. I thought that was a great idea. I would have been down with that. However, we're going to be able to scratch that itch because Contraband takes place in the 70s, and I've already seen footage. I've already seen gameplay, extensive gameplay, and it is definitely 70s. And then on top of that, you could see like the cop cars and the cars. Like we're talking like old 70s style V8 Buicks.
There's a Roscoe Pico train.
That's right. Roscoe P. Coltrane is going to be he's going to be doing the slow motion jump over the dirt ramps right into the water. It's basically looks like Dukes of Hazzard, to be quite honest, from what I've seen of gameplay. But yeah, it was great.
I hope that team nails it. They're a little dicey for me with Avalanche, but
I heard it was a lot of fun. I heard it was a lot of fun. The 8-player combat was a lot of fun from what I heard. I didn't play it myself, but
yeah,
I got to watch it, so I was like, that's really cool. So anyways, enough of that.
Speaking of the open world, like crime syndicate type thing, and you were talking about Grand Theft Auto, I'll move that up on the list because Grand Theft Auto has some mixed reports, some unreliable, some questionable, but it's a possibility that Grand Theft Auto could be delayed because we talked about how they're asking employees to come back to the office, and they're thinking or projecting that it might take them a little longer. So it's quite possible that if Grand Theft Auto 6 was supposed to release in the fall of 2025, that they could plan on doing that, and Rockstar may do their very oft-known 6-month delay to get the game just right. And before we say that, Mag, would you agree that when Rockstar releases a game, it's pretty much like where it needs to be?
Yes,
for the most part.
For the most part, it is. It's where it needs to be. And the thing is, they're not afraid. Now, I know that there's a lot of discussion out there, which is an interesting discussion about the game could possibly release closer to the next Xbox console. However, if you guys remember history, and it was only 11 years ago, well, 10 and a half years ago. I mean, only, Jesus.
Well, we're old.
Grand Theft Auto 5 released not even 2 months from the launch of the Xbox One and the PS4. Right? And they did not launch for the next-gen consoles right away. Right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Didn't it come out for the 360 and the PS3 in September 17th, if I'm not mistaken? I don't remember that because it's my brother's birthday. The same day. And it didn't
come to PC till 2015.
No, not PC. No, not PC. I was talking about Xbox One and PS4 came out in November that year. So it was literally, it came out less than 2 months before the next gen console.
Yes.
And I remember, and I'll never forget it, IGN gave it a 10 out of 10, obviously. And
it was one of the reasons I waited for an Xbox One. I was still playing GTA 5 on my 360. Go ahead.
GTA 5, yeah. Now, the thing is it's funny is that I remember the headline at IGN, it says, the next gen begins when Rockstar says so. And then they put 10 out of 10 on the game. Now, the thing is, I know like there's been some discussion and some excitement going, you know what? If they delay it, then it'll come out for the next gen Xbox. I don't think it will. Not right away. It will. It'll be able to be played natively, but I don't think you're going to get a boosted up version of the game with the next gen console. I think you're going to get the current gen only, whether it's delayed into 2026 or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I know your actual question is, do you see them delaying it? Absolutely. They said 2025. They didn't say when in 2025. Even if they delay it internally, like let's say February 2025, they delay it internally to December or September or October or whatever. How would we know? It just said 2025. Everything else is just conjecture.
Wasn't there some report that they were pushing for the quarter that brings it into spring 2025, which means if my prediction comes true that the latest it gets pushed is at the end of 2025 when the PS5 Pro comes out.
So maybe they gave themselves a little bit of a cushion there, and then they said, you know what? we'll just say 2025, leave it alone. That could be anywhere from January to December, right? That gives us 11 months, 12 months essentially of wiggle room that if the game is not ready to launch in, quote unquote, let's say spring, May of 2025, well, then delay it 6 months and you bring it to December or you bring it to October, November, whenever you feel like.
Okay.
Right? So at least they gave themselves a little room. So until they say something, I don't think there's much else to say other than let Rockstar cook, let them do their thing. I know it's been way too bloody long, but I think it's going to be well worth waiting. I think it's going to be one of those games that, just like GTA 5, is still in the top 5 selling games
for a decade.
Dude, it was literally. I think it was last week. Brap was saying it on his show. He had it was him and Tim Dog having a little discussion, and I was listening to it. And Brap brought up the top 5 selling games of February across all systems. Guess what number 3 was? GTA 5.
Don't you already own it 4 times, Colteastwood? I bought it on 360, Xbox One, PC when it launched on PC, and then I bought the remastered version on Xbox Series X because it was $25. Like they were giving it away.
It's insane. It's still you know what? I actually don't own it for PS5. Do you guys want me to buy it for PS5 and platinum it just to be a jerk? I'll do it, eh?
Well, I mean, you're going to need to because 6 is so far away. RDX Son of Fett, thank you so much for the Canadian $13.99. This one's way off topic, but I got to read it. It's great. IGN did South Park dirty. The Matt Stone interview, they said it was fun. Every word's in review, how it wasn't like any of the other 2 games. Matt said they want to try something new, and that's why it's cheaper. IGN gave it a 3 out of 10, if I remember right. RDX Son of Fett. Okay. I didn't even know this exists. It's a South Park game that came out recently.
That's weird because usually they do one with Ubisoft. No, is it Ubisoft?
Obsidian. Obsidian did Fractured Butthole, I think.
Are you sure?
No, Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth was by Obsidian, and I think Ubisoft did Fractured Butthole.
I thought Ubisoft had both. Okay, never mind. If I'm wrong, I stand corrected.
I don't know. I'm asking the chat. What do we know, Mag? We only run a podcast about gaming. I actually don't know because I haven't played those games.
Dude.
Hey, let me expose my ridiculousness. I've probably only watched about 3 South Park episodes in my life. There's something about it that just doesn't resonate with me. I think Family Guy is hilarious, but I just never really liked South Park, and everybody quotes it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just weird like that. It just doesn't do it for me. But I hear the game's great.
Put a chick in it, and I won't finish the sentence.
But I have seen the 2 of the episodes I really liked. One of them I was like, I don't know. I think it was the first one my brother showed me an episode, and it had the chef in it, and I was like, you think my brother's older? He's 5 years older. And I'm like, you like this stuff? That's when I felt like an old man. Thank you so much, Lotus Esprit. Thank you so much for another $50 super chat. Hippo coming out of the treasure chest going, yeah.
Once again, my gamer tag is I am the mag, all one word, all capitals.
I wrote it in there with a typo and then I fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, don't add me as a close friend because I don't accept the close friends one. Not to insult anybody. It's just because my full real name is on there on the account because I game share with my family, so I don't divulge that information. And got
it. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't even know how to say your name, Mr. Pick. He said Brap and Tim. I can't say his name.
Where is it?
It's somewhere there. It says brapandtim.com.
Oh, Mr.
in the community. Yeah. You see it?
Mr.
Mr.
Talk.
It's so hard to say.
Here, try it again.
And I'm like,
try it again.
Mr.
Mixie. Zip Talk.
Mr. Zip Talk? Okay, let's go with that.
Mr. Mixie Zip Talk is what I think it is.
He said, brapandtim.com, best guys in the community. Listen, I listen to everybody. And the reason why I listen to everybody is because I like to hear everybody's perspective. So, and I'm friends with these guys too. So, the thing is, we may agree to disagree on a lot of stuff. Maybe we agree on stuff. A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we do. And it just is what it is, man. And the thing is, at the end of the day, I have a lot of people I live with, work with, deal with every single day that we don't agree on stuff. And that's just the way it is, man. But I'm accepting of everybody just the way they are.
You don't even like me.
As long as you're not hurting somebody, and as long as you're not, and I mean that in every respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Don't be a jerk. Don't be, all that stuff.
I was on a podcast with King Thrash, and I thought, oh boy. But when I got it. Here's my public service
you were on podcast with King Thrash?
Yeah, well, Gaz and I did Gaz and Asa and King Thrash and I.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and it actually went really well because, you know, there's people that can't stand us or can't stand me. And I'm like, you know what? If you went to a gaming convention, I would be the first one to give you a hug. Like, bro, we're all gaming. We'd have that common thread. But I think it's so much easier when you're behind, you know, the Twitter screen to be absolutely ridiculous. And I'd be the first one to say, you know what? You know, Nick Marseille, I'm sorry we broke up.
Nicola? I like him. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I especially like when you guys, especially you, Gaz, and you, Gaz, and Nicola go at it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always pissing my pants because it's always first thing in the morning, and I'm always like, I'm just sitting there and I'm just doing my thing, and I'm like, swipe.
There they go.
Oh, there they go again. And then I saw you and Gaz on the show on Saturday, and you guys were talking about him, and then of course he quote tweeted it, and I'm like, you guys are too much, man. It's like Christopher Hart and ILP. Those guys have been going at it for literally years. It's so funny. I think it's hilarious. I love it. I love it. It's fun, man. It's just fun. It's all
as long
fun
as nobody gets personal. Like, you really can take a breath and go, it's going to be all right. Somebody's calling you out and get over it with. But
don't be hateful. Don't be hateful, and don't hurt anybody. That's all I ask for. Everything else, say what you want. Just don't say hurtful stuff. Don't be, based on people's identities. Don't be racist. Don't be hurtful, and don't hurt people in other ways. Just, you can have as much banter as you want. You can dislike each other. You can argue. You can not. It's fine.
Are you cool with them putting the big old Pinocchio nose on me?
I think it's hilarious. Dude, I screenshotted every single one of those. I got them in the tank, ready to go. Anytime.
Just ready for me to betray you one day? Yeah, I can't wait. Hey, still wreaking havoc. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Said, I would pay $700 for a handheld. I'd also pay $800 for a next generation box that destroys all gaming consoles. Well,
that's cool. That's cool.
I would venture they're going to go up $100 from... If they're 500 in the US, I think they're going to go up and start at 600.
Well, I mean, if you're paying triple for eggs, what do you think is going to be the next console? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, Jesus. And what everybody's paying for
either that or your console is like covered in egg cartons, and that's how they save the money.
Dude, that's
triple eggs.
Yeah, it's about the cost.
Yeah.
Grocery shopping is like a mortgage payment.
Speaking of payments and costing money, Abdel says, let us compete. I want to hear your take on the Dragon's Dogma microtransactions. Quickly, I'll just take my stance that I do not engage in paying for stuff that I can get in-game, so they don't bother me. I also don't want developers feeling like they can run wild and start kind of making things difficult in games so you're tempted to spend the money. But I think there's a lot of extra outrage, and there's a rule that you can't put microtransactions if it's full-price game. What's your opinion on that?
You know, it's funny you bring that up. I understand everybody's side of it. I've been watching and reading it on social media, listening to it on other podcasts. And I believe that both sides have valid points. So I have no dog in this fight because I don't purchase them. So regardless if they offer them, I don't purchase them. I never have. Actually, excuse me. I'm going to say one. Actually, there was one. I messed up.
There's always one.
I can't remember. There was one, and it was for Resident Evil. I can't remember which Resident Evil it was. And I messed up. And I had played through the game in order to get the 100%. Actually, I think this was on PlayStation, so I think I was going for a platinum on this one, not the 1,000 out of 1,000. So I ended up buying a token or something that was able to upgrade one of my guns. Otherwise, because I made a mistake and I forgot to upgrade it during the last run, I would have had to run through the game again in order to just get that one upgrade and then have to run through it again. And I saw that the little upgrade tickets, they were on sale for 99 cents. So I said, you know what? I'm buying the stupid ticket because I don't want to upgrade it again. So I bought the 99-cent ticket. I'm a fraud. Call me a fraud for that one game. You go ahead. I'll take the bullets for that one. And I bought that one ticket for 99 cents. I got the upgrade, and it saved me one playthrough. And it's only because I made a mistake. Other than that, I do not buy microtransactions. I will buy DLC if I absolutely adore the game. Like, for example, Borderlands. Borderlands 3 on Xbox, I got 3,000 out of 3,000 achievements on Borderlands 3 because I bought the game, the base game, and I bought all the DLCs because I absolutely adore Borderlands. So I destroyed that game on Xbox. I absolutely loved it. So I will buy DLC.
Oh, I buy Fortnite skins. Like I've bought probably 10 of them over the past couple of years, but you can't earn those in game. They're available in the store.
No,
there are some that are in battle passes, but a lot of them that I bought are only available through the store, and it's cosmetic stuff. I don't want to plant the flag on this because I have good friends like Onos Alex who are like really staunch, like they should never be in a full price game is his stance. But I also look at it like, okay, let's look at Dragon's Dogma. Capcom makes this $70 game.
Sure.
It doesn't even matter if it's good or not, right? They make a $70 game and they put in $41 worth of microtransactions that are one-time purchases that you can get a fast travel stone that you find all over in the game. Like all this stuff is in game, right?
Yeah.
I kind of look at it like Capcom builds this $70 full price game, and they said they brought the price up because they need to, because they're not making enough money. But I kind of think as the microtransactions, like, why not make a little extra money if people think this stuff is worth the price of the dollar for them or the price of admission? And I have a hard time faulting the developer who's like, look, we can make an extra $3 on the game or an extra $40 from some customers. You can only buy them once, by the way, but that doesn't excuse it. But put yourself in the developer's shoes. We built this game. People can spend the extra money if they want. All it does is ease their maybe the time they don't want to spend. If you don't want to spend the time to play a video game, why are you playing video games is also my stance, right? I kind of err on the side of why not make a little extra money, especially when we sit in podcasts where we're very fortunate to have people put in a couple dollars to have their opinion put on the air in front of 600 or 800 people. And they do that because they want to support what we do, which is fantastic. We get to hear their opinion, read it out in front, and have a discussion on it. And it's worth it to everybody involved, maybe, because they did that, right? And if developers want to make a few extra bucks, Meg, am I frauding myself by saying it's okay if they want to see if people want to make a little extra money or I don't know. I don't really know how to justify it properly.
Okay. It's funny you say that. And the reason why I say it's funny you say that is because remember, not even a week ago, or was it a week? Was it last week? We had this exact same discussion talking about how video games are not priced high enough. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Don't shoot me on this one, okay? I'm just saying that because of the rising cost of development, mainly developer salaries have ballooned and they've overstaffed, which now they're cutting back on because they overstaffed because of the COVID bubble. We like to call it the COVID bubble.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
All right. And that's what they did. And they let these people go because A, they're costing way too much money. They're taking way too long for the games. And they hired way too many people because they thought, oh, COVID's here. Everybody's going to sit at home and play video games forever now. No. In 2 years, like 2 years later, everybody went back to work. And so, the numbers dropped again. So it's obviously extremely justified. Like, I don't understand what the outrage is. I mean, we all know exactly what happened.
And profits are down as well.
And profits are down because people are not spending money because inflation's gone through the roof. So I talked about this on the last show, and I said one way or another, they're going to get their $100 out of a lot of people. Right? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
And what did we talk about? We called it the FOMO tax, right? You see every big release now has a 3-day early access.
Yeah.
They have a 5-day early access, a 6-day early access, a 7-day early access, even games in Game Pass for crying out loud. Like Forza Horizon 5 had a $40 early access, which gave you, it gave you the DLC.
And it has about $10 or $15 worth of, it has like 4 car packs that you spend real money to get cars. I think you can earn in game, but people are like, I really want the new whatever car.
And how many Xbox players do you know bought that? Almost everyone that I know, they bought that
early access. Oh, it was a huge hot seller.
It was a huge hot seller. How much was that? 40 bucks?
Hot take.
30 bucks, 40 bucks?
Hot take. If you want to do an early access and charge an extra 30 bucks so someone can play 4 days early, I applaud them. Go ahead. If somebody really wants to play it early that much and they're willing to pay because you pay because you think it's worth it. I think if it helps the developers make more money so that they can continue to make games, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna be on their side on the early access. I don't think it really hurts anybody other than the FOMO people that, games are expensive as enough as it is, but they're also a luxury. That's kind of a hard thing to say,
and
right?
like I
That's
said,
a hard thing to say and not sound like you're being kind of calloused. But if
it's
you
all
got
going to
the
be
money,
a creative way. Yeah, and it's going to be a creative way of them to be able to squeeze that $100 that they should be charging for certain games, whatever. Cecil Bell, you're absolutely right too. He actually said all of this is their fault, Mag, not ours. It is true.
Yeah,
they ballooned all these things on their own. They caused it. They created this mess. However, as everything keeps going up in price, it's getting more and more difficult for them to justify the $70 price tag. And even that's funny because they raised Sony was the first one to raise that. Remember at the beginning
they
of
were one
PS5?
of the first major ones outside of Take-Two and EA, I think. Yeah, for sure.
That's right. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that's going to be up another 10 or 15, maybe even $20 in the next couple of years. And I could definitely see that. And the thing is, a lot of people forget. You also, like a lot of people fail to realize that in the 90s, Nintendo cartridges were $100.
Yeah, and you're also paying for the chipboard and the plastic and all that crap. But yeah,
Sure, but I mean, it was still $100 in the 90s, man. Like, jeez. You mean you're playing Double Dribble for crying out loud? Like, Double Dribble, remember
Double
that?
Dribble. No, Double Dribble was $40 in the U.S. in 1988. Remember, I told the story that I borrowed it from my friend and it magically disappeared. Like one of my other friends stole it out of my room. I'm like, it wasn't even mine. It belonged to Ryan, and you stole it. And my dad took me down to the store, and he's like, let's replace it. And he was like, $40.
Yeah.
As my dad would say, shiz the bed, Fred, without the Z on there. I'm asking the audience, do you feel like you get your $70 out of these big new games? Yes or no?
I do.
Well, let me push you back on track about just the microtransactions, Mag.
Sure.
Because I want to ask, what's your opinion strictly about adding in microtransactions to get people to see if they want to spend extra money? How do you feel about that?
It doesn't bother me as long as it does not affect the experience of the full game. If I pay my quote-unquote $70, $100 up here, okay, if I pay my $100 for my game, and I get to experience the game in its entirety and with no interference whatsoever, then I have no issue
like no
with it
artificial like roadblocks that make you like you kind of got to spend the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as long as it's out of the way, then I think that people have the freedom to spend what they want to spend with their own money, and how they want to spend it is entirely up to them. Right? I think that's entirely up to you. As long as it's not pay to win. I mean, these are not pay to win situations. These are single player games.
There you go.
And
that's what I was going to ask you. As long as you're not giving somebody an advantage when it comes to playing the game with other people in the world. Let me give a second to give a shout out to Septic Sauce, or AKA, as we used to know him, Gaz, who's in the chat. He put out a great video, like off the cuff, about the microtransactions. Mostly his take was kind of aligned with mine. He's like, there's a lot of extra outrage, but we are both, and he says in his video, that we're really cautious of developers starting to push beyond the envelope. And I think when I say things like, if you want to do it, more power to you, I also have to be very careful that it does give them the green light to start pushing the envelope and start making egregious or destructive
if you push it over the line, gamers are not afraid to let you know.
Oh yeah, okay? That's true.
Look at the Gamergate situation 1 and this whatever the hell you want to call this new fiasco happening in the world right now with the gamers. Right? You want to call it Gamergate? Well, they want to call it Gamergate 2. Get out of here. But anyways, the thing is, gamers are not afraid to let their feelings show. And if they push it over the line, they're going to hear about it and they're going to get slapped. Look at Star Wars Battlefront 2, for example, right? They got absolutely smashed into the ground and then peed on afterwards. So they had to
rework the entire microtransaction system, and a very good game that no one gave two craps about.
Right, but we're not talking about that. That's not what's happening here. If they keep it in line and it just says, listen, this is an option, you don't have to do it. It may be an unpopular opinion, but it's just because I feel that this is not going to lead to something else. If it leads to something else, then you stop it and say, listen, here's the line. Okay? I just drew the line. It's here on the ground. It's okay if you want. Look at, and they've been doing it for years. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 3, Resident Evil 2, all these remakes.
Unlimited ammo microtransactions.
Right. Monster Hunter World. All of it. They had all those stuff in there. I didn't hear a peep out of anybody then. All of a sudden, there's a peep now.
Fallout 76 has like repair kits and other things that can make the game easier when you get in a bind and over encumbered. And
Assassin's Creed have an entire page devoted to all these microtransactions you could purchase in order to you could buy legendary armor right off the bat.
they're those things that ease the, I want to go out and see the world for a really long time. Not everybody wants to play a game like that. And Candy Crush is my perfect example of really nasty artificial obstacles that make people pay. I played Candy Crush one week when I was at work, and you get up to level 50 and you get up to a point where you cannot play the next level unless you spend a couple bucks. Like you just the game gets so difficult that it's like, if you run out of lives and you have to wait 24 hours or a couple hours. And then if you buy the $2 microtransaction, you get more lives and you get these bombs that will open up the map so you can continue playing. And I know they do that. Like when I played the game, I'm like, this is absolutely built to push you to say, you know what? I'd like to keep going. I'm so hooked. I got to spend the money. And when I said all that stuff earlier, that I'm okay with them making extra money, we have to be so careful that this doesn't get into regular video games that aren't on a. Yeah,
but you know what though? I don't think people will pay for it. I don't think people are going to pay for it anyway. Like if they tried to do something that actually roadblocked the video game, the game itself, no one's going to accept that.
I needed a microtransaction to reload faster in Alan Wake 2 so I could actually want to finish the game.
Yeah. But you know the thing is that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I really don't feel it's going to happen, because if they did something that would roadblock the actual narrative of the game or your progression of the game, you don't think that between Reddit, Twitter X, YouTube, Twitch, all these other avenues that people wouldn't lose their bloody minds? Of course they would. So it will never get to that point, and I think developers know the line, and I think that's the reason why I don't think they'll push it over. But what they've been doing is the same thing they've been doing for all their other games. They're right there, but people are complaining now. 2024 is a lot of complaining this year, but like I said, I'm not condoning it. But if it doesn't interfere, then I have no problem with it, because it doesn't interfere with me. Like I said, the only time I did was one time I bought a 99-cent upgrade token because I made a mistake and I didn't want to do another 5-hour run.
Excuses.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do another 5-hour run, Colt, just to get that stupid upgrade that I missed. And I got past the save point, and I literally wanted to slam my face into the coffee table for like 5 straight minutes, because I'm like, oh my God, I missed the bloody thing. And I was like, you know what I mean? That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Only time.
The pay to win thing is super dangerous, but I always remember my little anecdotal story when my friend was playing Need for Speed in like 2009, and he's like, "Oh, I spent $5 of real money to get the Porsche, like 911 or whatever." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I spent $5." And I go, can you only get it on the store? And he goes, "No, I just didn't want to play until I got it. I just wanted it then." I go, and I remember I was so cheap 15 years ago when it came to games. I couldn't fathom spending $5 real when I could sit and actually play the game and unlock. Like, that's how I was feeling at the time, right? You can literally play the game and unlock the car, and you spent real money when you already spent. You know, that's how I was at that moment. But I mean, I didn't yell at him. I just thought to myself, why would anyone do that when money is so precious? When I need that $5 to buy formula for my daughter. So yeah, I was. Let people do what they want, I guess.
Here's the thing. Like, I just got a notification. Angry Joe just launched a video at 10:01, so 6 minutes ago.
Okay.
And the title is Dragon's Dogma 2 Launch Disaster. What disaster?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, there's such a hypocrisy here. They literally have been doing the same thing for, like, literally game after game after game after game, and it doesn't affect the quality or the product of the game. I understand how, like I said, but I understand both sides. But I'm just saying, if it doesn't affect it, then how is that a disaster? How is that a disaster? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. If you just not go to that page and play the game, Colteastwood, you have played the game relentlessly since it come out. Have you even gone to the microtransaction page?
No.
Have you even bothered? Okay, are you playing the game and enjoying the hell out of it?
Heck yeah.
Okay, so what is the problem here? It's a choice. It's like seeing a male strip club and just saying, I don't want to see naked men. Then don't go inside.
Well,
what the hell's wrong with you?
I didn't know that was
you know what I mean? It's right there. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a male strip club right there, and people getting angry.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to see naked men. It's like, well, then, dude, don't walk inside. Go to the female strip club up the road, for crying out loud. What's the matter with you? Like, I'm just saying, it's just an option. I don't think it's that big of a deal, man. But I do understand the slippery slope. Don't get me wrong, okay? But people, don't get me wrong. I understand the slippery slope.
It's a tough one to make a statement on, for sure.
I don't think they're going to do that because gamers are too intelligent, generally speaking, to let that stuff go by. Yeah. They're not going to let that slip. And like I said, Battlefront 2 was a primo example of what happens when you try to slip one past gamers, and that won't happen again. I guarantee it. They will bury the company that tries to do that. You've got super chats to get to, and then we got to run out of here.
I know we're running late. Before I read the super chats, we were talking about Fallout 76 and the microtransactions, and you can buy Fallout First, which is $10 a month, that gives you these quick shortcut things that, like, if you're over encumbered and you can't get back, you can use this microtransaction that comes in. Well, you could pay for a microtransaction, but it comes with your service that allows you to have extra carry weight so you can travel home and drop off all your gear, or you have a box that holds all your stuff. Fallout 76 is fantastic, by the way. I can't believe how great that game is. Phil said in an interview, because he's been playing a lot of Fallout 76, he said the same thing to me in the party chat last week, Mag. He said, oh man, drives me crazy. I swear it was word for word what he said to me. It drives me crazy that there's no cross progression. You can't play on PC and pick up your character on Xbox or vice versa. And I was like this in the party chat. I was thinking, what? You're the head of Microsoft and Xbox Gaming. Like, go tell Bethesda, hey, we need to have cross progression. You got these people playing on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. Just spit. Bethesda.
Hot take.
Let them all pick up their character wherever they want to play. It would actually boost the engagement even more on the game. And then he said it to Polygon in an interview today. And I'm like, Phil, you're the boss of Xbox. Literally tell Bethesda this is what you want. This is what should be in your game. It makes me think, Mag, that Bethesda's got you don't tell us what to do. This makes me upset.
I got a hot take, so I have to whisper it into the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Welcome to the Ecstasy Podcast. This is episode 142. We're here with Mag. He's got a hot take. Hot take coming in. Hot take. Go.
Phil Spencer, I know you're listening right now. Add cross progression as a $10 microtransaction, and don't tell anybody. Just do it. Capcom does it. You can do it too. All right? You heard it here first, buddy. I got you. Don't worry about it.
$10.
All right, anyways.
$10 for a new save only on Fallout 76.
There it is.
And Dragon's Dogma 2.
That should make everybody happy.
I'm going to make sure.
Microtransaction for cross progression. Do it, Phil. You can get it done, buddy. Come on.
Anyways, I don't know. I think Bethesda must have like some kind of, maybe they just have too much pushback when Phil's like, you guys need to do this. And you're like, don't tell us what to do. I really love those teams, but I'm like, why aren't they? If Phil says on a public article, it's like when the boss says something, I really wish that Mag would get that done before the end of the week. You're like, oh crap. You hear that in the conference room walking by? Yeah,
you better get to it. Why don't you just come to me and say, Mag, can you get this done?
Oh, because they're afraid of you.
Nobody calls me Mag at work. Well, yeah, that's not true. I mean, that is true, but it's not true.
Okay, let me make sure. We got Paul Rashbrook, who gives an Australian $4.49 with this way. Rock on.
Well, hey, man. Devil horns all the way, buddy. Rock on.
Can't even get this pinky up, so I broke it in 6th grade. Hargy Johnny drops Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen Global Code for the definitive edition of Dragon's Dogma 1 on Xbox and Dragon's Dogma 2 Deluxe Edition, which comes with all of the microtransactions you can buy on the store with the microtransactions for the game and cheat for the game.
I'd like to say one thing very good. Thank you, Hargeet. And well, I'm say thank you for the people who got the code. Hargeet, I want to speak to you specifically. Your contribution to the Gaming Circle podcast with Kay Asante and Everborn Saga was absolutely outstanding. It was some of the best podcasting I've heard in all of 2024. I just want to tell you. It was outstanding.
He's also rubbing elbows with the Lords this week at PAX, or last week
yes,
at PAX.
Yes, I saw the pictures. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. So yes, Hargeet, your section on the Gaming Circle Pod. By the way, check out that show, the Gaming Circle Podcast. Chaos Sound and Everborn Saga, great show. Yes, Hargeet's contribution to that show was absolutely outstanding. The whole show was outstanding, but yeah, when he got on there, I absolutely loved every minute of it. He was making a whole lot of sense. It was about a very touchy subject. But anyways, we won't get into that. Next super chat, my friend.
You send me a link to that after the show, and I'll check it out. Eli Zapp,
Sure.
welcome to Early Access, and MASH gifted 10 channel memberships. Thank you so much, MASH. Looking handsome on the profile picture. Yes. Let's see. I misread. Do you want me? I'm getting a message from one of my moderators. Yes, we should announce who the winner is in the chat. My moderators picked a winner for Dragon's Dogma 2. If you didn't get the code from Hargeet that he dropped, we are actually sending one via a message. We have picked a winner for Dragon's Dogma 2. That'll be in the chat momentarily. Spartan661, thank you so much for the $10 super. It says, do you think the Xbox handheld should have removable or rechargeable batteries to keep us on the go? Yes. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, man, go for it. I'm down with that.
Imagine like whatever battery pack, the lithium pack they put in there that you could buy, like they use a standardized one that you could buy, and then you could just keep one in your backpack. It'd be freaking awesome. We were able to replace and charge our batteries from our phones before 2012. I did the same thing. I buy one of $8 on Amazon. I hope they do this. I don't think they would, but that's a freaking amazing idea. We close out the show with a fantastic super chat. $5 from our good friend Boner Jams of the Under the Bus podcast, your podcast on Wednesday evenings to talk about guitars, music, and more. Boner Jam says, oh, Mag, the Baron of the Neo Geo and the provocateur of crushing pelvis. Good to see you, Mr. Colt Morningwood. Great show. Have a great week, boys.
Thank you, Boner Jams. You're the best, buddy. I see my name keeps showing up in the chat. Everybody's coming up with different versions of my name. It's actually quite funny.
Mag Cronus Max.
Magster White. I've got a skit coming up I've been working on for quite a while because I'm just waiting for some certain news to drop, and when it drops, I've got a whole bunch of skits of a new character I've been working on. So Pony Master hasn't retired. I just put it away for a while, but I got someone new that I got.
It's been a minute.
And it's going to be hilarious. Yeah, well, at least I think it's going to be hilarious. But anyways, enough of that nonsense.
Meg, I appreciate you.
What a show.
I think the discussion was actually pretty good. We defrauded ourselves, and we frauded ourselves yet again. I think it was good. Talos Race's great show, Mag, and everyone in the chat. Thank you, guys. We really appreciate everybody for being here. We're going to close out the show. We're creeping up on 150 here in a couple weeks, so we'll see what goes on. Mag, instead of saying what am I going to be playing, just say whatever you want to say to the people, and we'll head out.
You know what? It was a great show tonight. A lot of positivity, a lot of happiness. Seriously, man. And it was good. Yeah, I saw that one too.
No, I forgot. I was going to play. I had 20 minutes of Dragon's Dogma. Maybe I'll show it next week if anybody cares. Go ahead.
We'll do it next week. We'll show more footage of it. So anyways, a great show tonight. Great conversation. Chat, you guys are amazing. As always, and always, I got to tell you, man, it takes a lot to really make me laugh. And this chat always makes me laugh. Especially when Colt is saying something serious and I glance over at the second screen and you guys say something so utterly ridiculous that I literally have to cover my face and hide behind my mic because I start pissing my pants because you guys are so funny. Anyways, keep up the great vibes, man. Keep up the good time. Keep up the gaming. Let's all be happy. Let's all have a great time and game together, and let's do our thing. Colt, we'll do this all next week, buddy. In the meantime, I'm heading down to the US of A, so gotta run.
Awesome. So thank you so much. I don't know what's going on over the next week. I think, the show should be going on next week as usual. I think everything's gonna be good. I'll be working on some videos about some of the stuff Phil Spencer's talking about. I get back into that. I appreciate everybody's support here. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. We really appreciate it. I've got this Dragon's Dogma footage where I want to show you what my character looks like. My son and I spent a good 40 minutes trying to make him look as derpy as I do in real life, and I think we did a pretty decent job. I look like Asa and Colt and Adam Sandler had a baby, and that's probably the most hot thing that could ever happen in the real life world. So we appreciate you guys. We'll have this footage in full next week if everybody's still talking about Dragon's Dogma. Have a good night, everybody. You've been amazing. Mag, I'll talk to you after the show. You sexy beast, you.
Great show, boys. Great show.
See ya.